Hi, Ruby.
Why, good evening, love. How are you this lovely evening?
I'm good. I just had to rush in the house because I knew we had our show. I might sound a little out of breath. How about you? How are you today?
It's been a day. I'm going to say that it has been a day. You know what? Listen, I relate to the feature person of our stream today. I had a rough day yesterday.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm having like a rough month. I feel like March is just not my month. I'm waiting for April. April
Hey,
will be
don't
better.
hold up. Don't talk bad about March. You know I am a March baby. And listen, I celebrate. I celebrated all month, partying and partying. So yeah.
Hey, listen, Mr. Ruby is also a March baby. My mama is a March baby. That does not make me like March more. In fact, Pisces makes me very much like March less. Let's put it that way. Sorry, but you're Aries, so it's all right.
Exactly. I was about to say that. I am an Aries.
Exactly.
Guess that debunks that. But
Exactly.
so today, you had a good idea, a good topic. I mean, like, it's crazy. The manosphere been a mess. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. And I think that it's weird because normally when the manosphere is a mess, it's a mess from all these different angles, but all kind of for the same reason. And I feel like this is an original time because it seems to be a mess for like a whole bunch of different reasons all at once. It's crazy.
Exactly. And it's not
Mhm.
even a mess for the guys, it's a mess for the women as well. Drama everywhere. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
God.
let me just stay out of all the drama. I'm gonna stay to myself.
Mhm. Absolutely. Listen, I'd be real with y'all. I was never really a big fan of being in the drama or even watching the drama. I get bored really easily. No
Yeah,
lie.
same here. But I have been in the clouds though, I'm not gonna lie. I have been in clouds, but I just try to stay away from it. But
Hmm.
yeah, so what's going on with MTR?
Well, and here's the thing: a bunch of stuff is going on. I'm sure when people jump on the panel, they're going to bring up this other stuff. Okay, that was going on with MTR. For those of you who don't know, MTR stands for Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Now, I found him entirely by accident. Like, I didn't find him, even though I've been in these spaces watching these videos for years and whatever. I didn't find him through someone else in the space. I can't remember what I was looking for. He happened to have done a video on that thing. And so I
Mhm.
happened to click and I was like, I like this dude. I like him. He's fair, he's balanced. Feel like he's honest, he got a lot of integrity. And he's standing on his own square. He believes what he believes, and he's willing to be honest, open, share what I loved it. And he was on his game too. He was, self-actualized and he was pursuing his man business. So I loved it, right? I thought it was very inspiring. Started watching it. And I mean, I've seen him grow quite a lot. I think a lot of people recently saw him do his big collab with Kevin Samuels, which was a
Mhm.
huge thing. And then he got canceled. And that had to do with, let's be real, it had to do with the women's sector or women um,
Mhm.
suddenly deciding he was a misogynist and a woman hater and da, da, and all this stuff. Um, and here's the thing. That was crazy as it was because I was so happy for him at that point, Melody, because he had just gone through this hard time. He
Yeah.
had cancer. He shared it with everybody, and took a little bit of a break. He came back twice as strong. Came back with a documentary. I was like, yeah, he's winning. He's doing it, and they cancel him. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
honestly, that's when I started watching them because I felt so bad. It was like heart wrenching. I'm like, what? Cancer? And ever since then, I've been watching him. But you seem to know him very well.
I don't know him. Like, if you told that man, classic Ruby, unless he's noticed the comments I've made here and there, because he always comments on he has 7.5 women watchers and whatever. So maybe he's
Mhm.
seen me from that perspective. But that man don't know me. I just really like his content. I like the character and the personality he has, as well as his point of view and his balance. And so I've been very, very devoted. I'll say for at least a year, maybe two. I can't remember exactly. But I thought he's great. And so
Right.
what I thought was kind of like, I thought it was a continuation of the cancellation thing. He did a video today, and the video's title is basically, yo, peace out, Manosphere. I'm out. I'm done with y'all. I'm leaving y'all. And I was like, wait, what?
Oh, that
He's
was
leaving,
crazy.
right? I was like, he's leaving the Manosphere. I mean, let's be real. He was never the guy who was part of the echo chamber. Like, he wasn't, right? And he was never like, oh, I'm a red pillar or I'm a black pillar or whatever. That's not what he was about. He wasn't about spewing narratives and echo chambers and any of that. Okay. He was just about giving his fair, honest, balanced opinion, being a man in this world,
Mhm.
amongst other things. So yeah, he was closely related to the Manosphere. I think a lot of Manosphere dudes liked and respected him and his content for that reason, right? Because he was keeping it a buck about the way that reality is now. But
Right. So let me ask you a question. Was he a
mhm,
part of all the drama, or is he just tired of seeing the drama in the
see,
space?
I was well. That's what we are going to try to decipher today. Because here's the thing: I thought when I saw the title, I thought it was about all of that, the women coming after him and getting him canceled, and then he lost the contract. And here's the thing: a lot of people might not know this, but way before MTR was on YouTube, he actually was already doing grown man business. Okay, he was already doing real stuff in the real world, and he was already helping black men in the real world. Okay, boots on the ground, helping black men. So,
Oh,
for him to lose a contract like that, and for his name to be sullied, that's why I thought he was going to be leaving. But listening to the video, I don't think that's what it's about, Melody. I really don't. I don't think that's what it's about. So I want us to listen to it, and then I
okay.
guess we can discuss where we think this is coming from.
Right. Let's run the clip. But first, I want to address something in the chat. Hey,
Mhm.
Shar, she says, our picture isn't showing. Um, both of our
Oh,
pictures are showing, or just one of our pictures isn't
it's,
showing?
it's
Because I
probably
see it.
me.
Wait, let me see. Who? So whose picture isn't showing, guys? Is it mine? Is it Ruby's? Or is it both? Because we can fix that right now. So whose picture isn't showing?
Okay, there we go.
Anyone
Should be
say
able to see
anything?
mine. I just switched it. Oh, you look cute though, Melody. I didn't even see this picture. I like it.
Thank you. You
Oh,
always look cute. So, but
girl, I always look
thank
the
you. I
same. I don't have time to
appreciate it.
change. But no, you look adorable. I love it. It's gorgeous.
Thank you, love. Okay, so let's run this video because I'm interested. I didn't see it. So
All
let's
right.
run this video. I'm gonna pull it up now.
All right. So let's listen through. Okay. There's no visuals, but he didn't have visuals in his, so it's just listen. I want y'all to listen because honestly, even if we never figure out exactly why, because the man's too classy and stoic and on his grown man stuff to be sitting there gossiping like little girls. But okay, he did give us some jewels, wisdom of knowledge as well about life. So please listen. All right.
Okay.
Bad day yesterday. I really don't know why. Well, I mean, I guess I can guess why. I didn't sleep well the night before. I think it was a combination of having like a little bit of a cold, and then I also drank too much coffee the day before. But yeah, had a bad day yesterday. Today I feel amazing though. I woke up, drank just a wee bit of coffee, got some water, and I feel like $100,000. But anyway, here's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Um, who is your starting five? Who are the people that you can rely on at a moment's notice if the going gets tough, if your back's up against the wall,
Oh, fair
you
use.
feel like you got pushed off of a cliff with.
Yes, everybody, fair use, fair use, fair
Fair
use.
use.
Okay. I did transform though. We're not using any of the imagery. We're only using the audio. We should be covered anyway, but we are going to pause, and actually talk. We're not going to just play through the whole 6 minutes, but I wanted him to get to a point before, It's like talking about because he had a bad day yesterday. I didn't think that was a point to really stop at. Yeah, okay,
Right.
let's keep going. He's about to finish his first point, and then we'll pause and we'll see if anybody, they got their tinfoil hat on, who and what he might be referring to. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
No grappling hook in your utility belt, so to speak. Right?
We love
Who's your starting
mahogany.
five? Who are those people that you can depend on if you have to make a call at 3:30 in the morning? Who are those people? Have you identified those people? Have you built relationships with them deep enough where they felt they can do the same with you? Or do you live in forever acquaintances? See, there's some pros and there's some cons regarding deep connection, deep relationship, building a starting five, as opposed to living in forever acquaintances. And let me tell you about it.
Okay. So I feel like this is kind of, he doesn't want to address any names specifically, whether it's the good or the bad. Okay. But he talks about, hey, y'all, do y'all know your starting five? I feel like this whole entire section, it's basically an allusion to the way that this space works. And let's be real, we all know how it works. Okay, it's all about clout and validation and attention and trying to be in with the next person who has a bigger name than you. One step up, one step up, one step up. And then you drop all your friends, your day one friends, right? Because they still small time. And you try to be big time now, right? And so as you're climbing up the ladder, a lot of people forget the people that were their day ones, and they drop them. And it seems as though what he's alluding to, first of all, is he didn't forget his day ones. So let's not get that twisted. He didn't forget his day ones, nor did he drop them. He might have made some new associates, right? But he didn't drop his day one, his real people, his friends. That's what I heard here. What did you hear?
No, I heard the same thing. He still has his friends, but it seems like they're all turning against each other. And watching that can be a little bit scary because you're like, well, am I next? Am I the next one to get turned on? So yeah, definitely.
Makes you wonder too. And I mean, listen for this, y'all, but we all know that there are definitely people in this space, big time names. Well, maybe some of y'all don't know. Maybe y'all have never been close enough to any of these people to know. But I'm going to tell y'all, there are big time people in this space who make you play it's either me or him game. You can only watch one of our contents. If you want to watch his content, I'm banning you from my channel. I'm banning you from my Discord. You can only support one. There can only be one. Like, people are like that.
Exactly. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of girl rap groups. There can only be one. Everybody's beefing with each other. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Right.
It's like
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. This is a bunch of grown men. I mean, come on now.
You would think, right? As a bunch of grown men, at the very least, they wouldn't be playing these little games. I mean, I don't know. For those of y'all, I don't know if y'all heard Jeff on Bernard Riley, but it seems like he was saying the same thing that MTR is saying now, which is that behind the scenes, he's talking to his boy, and his boy says, yo, I don't mess with that dude. And that dude did this, and this to me, right? And so pretty much you got to choose. You want to be closely associated with me? You want to be ride or die with me? Or you want to do interviews with that dude, right? Pick one. And he picked one to be loyal to his, one of his day one dudes, right? He picked one to be loyal. And then later it bit him in the ass because he sacrificed business and he sacrificed opportunities. And then as soon as the business and the opportunity came to his boy, even if it meant having to swallow a grudge, man swallowed a grudge to make some money. And he's like, wait a minute, I lost money for you. Why won't you lose money for you? Right? So I feel like that might also be where MTR is at, where maybe they were pitting him against people, telling him, there can only be one. You got to choose one of us. You're going to lose. Or maybe he made some choices to be loyal, and then he saw it bite him in the ass, or he saw the other people make a completely different decision and say, well, I'm over it now. or something. You know what I mean? One of these types of
Yeah,
things. Some kid
yeah,
nonsense.
exactly. Just, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know how people can hold grudges. Just let it go. Do you, make your money, and that's it.
Exactly.
I just
Exactly. All
think,
right. Let's keep listening.
A couple of those. I'll start with forever acquaintances. I love forever acquaintances, right? A lot of people want to talk shit just on having fly by night type of friends, but having fly by night type of friends can be fun. You know, these are the friends that always knows what's happening within the city. They always got the shit that's popping off. Shit, they might even invite you to a trip out the country. You know what I'm saying? Popping bottles, living free. These are the highlight components of life. But you never really talk about life with them. You never build deep, relationships. You never go beyond the surface level of interaction with them. But they can be fun to be around. But you'll often find that you'll look back on photos and the fly by night friends are not with you as you enter into different stages of life. I think it's safe for me to say that I have completely entered a different stage of life. I've talked about it on the channel. Not a lot. I've probably mentioned it a couple of times in the sense of, not really banging with my Fridays and Saturday nights anymore. But like I look forward to my mornings, and just working on my purpose, working to optimize things that I see wrong with the channel and, front end, back end, like all of those kind of things. And I feel really accomplished when I'm crossing things off of my checklist. The thing is that this type of lifestyle is not the fly by night lifestyle, but, a large component of my 20s, I did live a fly by night lifestyle. I think every stage of life has a particular purpose, but you can evolve through it. Some people never leave the fly by night cycle. To each their own. It's not for me anymore.
hmm,
Anyway,
Okay.
oh,
Now, how do we apply that to YouTube? Because here's the thing, right? That's what I was doing. I was sitting here going, but how do I apply this to YouTube and the Manosphere? Because the video is titled "Why I'm Leaving the Manosphere," right? So
mhm,
this 6 minutes we're listening to is why he's leaving the Manosphere, a space that, by all accounts, I'm going to be real, by all accounts, he should never leave because it's been very profitable for him, right? And he's been very successful. So
okay.
why would he leave? So now the first thing he brings up are these forever fly by night types, right? Like your friends basically when the going's good, and when the when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and the weak run away and hide in a corner until things get better, and then they come out of the shadows, and go, "Hey, bro, remember me? We best friends again." Right? Let's chill now on your millions or whatever, right? So maybe that's what he's talking about people who might have been there from day one, right? Or maybe he supported people back before he was a content creator. Maybe he supported people, and when he was trying to build, he went to those people he had given money, time, big ups to in the real world, whatever. He went to those people and maybe he tried to get some support from them to help his channel grow, and they spit on him. But now that he's huge, now that he's doing collabs with Kevin Samuels, right? Now they're like, "Oh, hey, remember me? Remember you used to watch me too? Yo, you were my favorite sub." Yeah, what's up?
I
Right?
see it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I see it like that, but I also see him saying like, you're tired of it because you used to be here, everything was cool, but now everybody's flip flopping. Um, everybody's mad at him because he's cool with Kevin because they can't get to Kevin. That's what I think it is. I think it's because a lot of people can't get to Kevin. So when they see someone get to Kevin, then they have all these opinions and they get emotional and they pretend they want to be your friend so they can get to Kevin too. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That's what I see. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
You know
everybody
what?
want to be big. Everybody want to blow up for some
Yes,
reason.
yes, exactly. And I gotta address Luaki, OG over in these spaces. Now, listen, for him to say, which I agree though, right? Some people need to get their bleeps whooped. And the reason why I agree right? It's because men talk about this all the time. They say women act this way and women act that way, and they hit men, they do this, they do all kinds of craziness they would never do if they were men,
Mhm.
because men have this low level threat of violence when standing in front of another man, which makes you mitigate yourself because you know that everything you say and do could be met with violence from another man. But the internet
Mhm.
doesn't work that way, because in the internet, you could be whoever you want from wherever you want. And in essence, be in hiding. No one can touch you. No one can reach you. Right. That's why people don't like to get doxxed, because then it allows people the ability to reach you and touch you. Right. So
Right.
I think that a lot of people come into these spaces, they recreate themselves altogether. They're fully fake. That's why I actually have a lot of respect for MTR, because you can actually, I'm not gonna say all that. I don't want anyone to dox him, but
You
he's findable. He's
right.
findable, and he was somebody. And he is still somebody. He actually has a real life and real money and whatever. So what
He's
he's doing
authentic.
here,
He's
he's
very
authentic.
authentic. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so what he's doing here, he isn't doing. He's not just spewing words for money and for fame, because he makes real money in real life. He was already somebody before he got here. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mhm.
it's a little different. But I'm like, nah, some of these guys recreate their whole entire selves and just sell to the basically that internal emotional place where people are hurt or damaged or traumatized. They're selling to that. They're just going to speak to that part of you, right? To make you open up your wallets and support them. And they don't care. They don't care who they hurt along the way. They don't care what they damage along the way. They don't care who they step on along the way, because they understand that there is no low level threat of violence on the internet. There's not. You can't touch it. You got to find them first. And
You
since
got
they're
a lot
lying
of
about their whole lives,
you
you
got a
can't
lot of
find them.
internet thugs. You ever heard of that
Right.
internet thug?
Yes.
There's
Yes.
a lot of those. Catch a flight, knowing damn well they're not going to catch a flight. So
Right?
it's a lot of them.
Catch a flight. Sean likes to do that. She tells Don TZ to catch a flight, like at least once a week on Fridays. Tells Don TZ to catch a flight.
Right. Knowing damn well ain't nobody catching no flight. Mhm.
Right?
That's the interesting part. But yeah, I mean, even me, let's just like put it on us. Let's personalize it. Like even me, I used to love the Manosphere when I first came here. But it's like now I'm always in the clouds because there's always some drama going on. Then
Mm-hmm.
I listen to people's channels who used to say one thing and now their stances are like totally opposite of what they used to say. It's just so much crazy stuff.
That pisses me off. It,
You know?
it actually hurts my soul that people do that, that they switch up their whole entire narrative. They'll switch up their whole entire life story. Just pay
Mhm.
attention for 2 seconds, right? Because girls like me, when I came here, I told everyone the truth. And I just came as who I am. And you know what? 6 years later, I still am just who I am. Right. And all these other people just keep changing everything to try to be popular, try to be cool, try to get attention, try to get likes, try to get. And I'm like,
Really?
really?
I've
Like,
even
really?
seen I've even seen women switch up. They
All
hated
the
black
time.
men in the beginning, and now all of a sudden they're like all over black men just for the bag. And then you have the men as well. It's men who used to hate black women, and now they're like all up in their face. You see that all over the space. And it's like, come
Mhm.
on, do I really want to be here with a bunch of fakes?
No, no, and that's why I am very selective about who I support, who I speak to. And so if y'all see me up on someone's panel, I probably support, respect, and I have reasons to support and respect them. So, and it's not everybody. But then you got the panel hoppers, aka the panel whores, who are just here for attention, validation, and desperate for more likes, views, and subs.
Right.
Okay. Those,
Right, exactly. You have a lot of those all in a space. And I used to go on panels, but I see now, like, let me just chill. Let me just listen to the message from here because this is the manosphere. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you. Do
mhm.
you, as a woman, consider yourself part of the manosphere, even though you were here for so many years?
I do not. I wonder if Shar would remember this. Long time ago, yeah, long time ago, back on the Prophet of Thought series, we used to have the Unicorn 4 panel. And so that question was actually asked to all of us. And what I said was no, I don't consider, because here's the thing, I consider myself an ally. I consider myself, I
Right.
believe, for example, I believe in pure red pill ideology. I will say that until I'm blue in the face. I support men's rights in a lot of ways. I'm anti a lot of the dumb stuff that new wave feminism does and fights for, right? And
Mhm.
so I speak to my belief system, but what it comes down to is, in my opinion, the manosphere is about men, right? By men, for men. So at best, I can be an ally. At best, I can be a support. At best, but I can't
Exactly.
be part of the manosphere because I'm not a man, and that's
Right.
right.
And I
It's
feel
like
the same way. Like how could you be a part of the manosphere and you're a woman? That's why I notice a lot of women are saying that they're not part of the manosphere, and a lot of men are even saying they're not part of the manosphere, even though they do manosphere content. So I was wondering, what makes a person part of the manosphere?
literally that's going to be an interesting discussion. Let's save that until after we're done listening, because a lot of people basically say you can say you're not part of the manosphere all you want, but you don't get that choice. But let's keep listening. Let's keep listening.
All right, let's continue.
Um, Picking a starting five, solidifying who these amazing people within your life. It's very rewarding. However, it can also be very taxing as well, because if you do not select correctly, or if you let someone into your proverbial inner circle before that they have been properly vetted, these are the people that can bring you down into the abyss as well. These are the ones that, when they talk to you, it's more negative than positive. These are the ones that, make it to a certain stage in life and forego developing. These are the ones that seem to bring you more challenges regarding your decisions as opposed to solutions. Those. But if you do your due diligence to understand, the different personality traits of those that you put within your starting five, then those can be the most rewarding experiences. I've also said this on the channel as well, is that when I consider joy and happiness, I really think that the human condition considers the amount of people within your life that you love and can honestly say that love you back. Deep quality relationships. I'd rather have 5 people of deep quality relationships than 100 acquaintances. Here's the reason why I bring all this up in the context of me having a bad day yesterday.
All right, so we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's talk about these people now who are only bringing up the negative. Because on one side, I get what he's saying, and I agree on one side. On the other side, I very much appreciate and enjoy an intellectual debate, specifically with people who disagree with me, because I like the challenge, right? Not everyone does, mind you, right? But I'm one of those people. So I actually would rather be around a Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, because in essence, when I consult with other people, I don't absorb what they're saying as far as like the point of you can do it or you can't do it. I'm the more the type that uh, I listen to your critiques, I listen to the challenges you've made, and then I just respond to them. So as in, I will find the answer to all these holes you've poked in my argument to try to make a better argument. So I'm okay with that, but I understand what he's saying from a larger perspective, because not everyone is like me. Most people are not. And I think that it can be very destructive for a lot of people to surround themselves with certain types, especially these negative Debbie Downer types who are secretly envious and jealous of you, and secretly envious and jealous of your success, because they are going to do everything in their control possible to destroy you, to destroy your confidence, to destroy your opportunities, to try to set you up for failure, right? And you've got to be very careful of people who are either too positive or too negative. He didn't bring up too positive, but the people who are the yes men, the smile, nod, yes, yes, you're so smart. Oh my God, you're so great. Oh my God, you're the most wonderful. Oh my God. Oh my God, your ideas are so wonderful. Oh my God, yes, we attribute everything in life to you. Oh my God. Those people are just as destructive because they're lying too. And they keep it a
Right.
buck. No one's that wonderful or that smart or that brilliant all the time. They're just not, right? So
No,
they
I
can be just as
do
destructive.
agree, but it's also people who want to bring you down when you're not even up there yet. They try to
Mhm,
stop you from getting there because they don't
mhm.
want to see you grow. See, that's kind of like the opposite because you're saying it's the people that's up there already, they're trying to stop their success. But trust me, I've seen people who have potential that, other people look at and try to stop their money. So, got to watch out for those as well.
That's true. I mean, hey, listen, we got a song for our people, right? I mean, a saying, a song, whatever. For me, I love the song. It's by a Canadian artist called Chaos, right?
Hmm.
Like K and then OS, not like chaos, like the chat. Anyway, and the song is like, the time to get down, but I'm moving up. It's your time to get down, but I'm moving up. Oh, here come the crabs in the bucket. Because
Oh,
that's what it is, right?
yeah. It's a
That's
lot of
fly,
those.
right?
Yeah,
But
I
that's
like that. That was cute.
it's cute, but here's the thing, right? So the crabs, you think about the people don't maybe they've never seen crabs in a bucket or crabs in a barrel. You don't even have to make the bucket high. You don't. It can be there could be like an inch to freedom, and those crabs will never get out because another crab is always going to pull them down. And the
Mm.
crabs that are trying to move up from the very bottom, another crab is going to pull them down, push them down, keep them down. They are literally self-imprisoning themselves, right? And so that's kind of how we are. It's weird because we're not even necessarily needing to pull each other down to try to get up above. No, we're just trying to pull you down to our level so we're comfortable again, right?
Mhm.
Because then if I pull you down to my level, I can pretend my level's high, right? But if I let you get way above me and I gotta tilt my head up to see you in the sky, then I have to acknowledge that I'm failing. And we don't like that. We don't like accountability though. Let's be real. We don't. So just saying, the modern person under the age of 40 does not like accountability. They don't. They don't like hard work. They don't like accountability. They don't like reality. They really like living with at least a touch of delusion. And yes, I'm saying that about both men and women. Come up and challenge me when the stream yard's open, because I that's what I think. Hmm. Okay.
I told
All right.
you, there's a lot of crabs in the barrel out there.
Hmm.
Just be careful because they're everywhere. You know, don't trust anybody. This is what I say, and it's sad. I don't trust nobody, not even really my family, because it's people out there who just want to see you fail, like Ruby said. So just watch it,
Hmm. Hmm.
especially here
Hey,
in this space.
Omar Ali, if you go over to Just Ask Jar's channel and you get to hear her sing, you'll understand why my singing is the better singing. Okay, sorry, I had to say that. Anyway, because he said, don't sing, Rubes. Like, what do you mean? I am so much better than Shar. Anyway, okay. Let me play the last 40 seconds and then we could open up to some more discussion and speculation about what really happened. Because, like I said, man's too classy and he did not call anyone out by name or anything specific. So let's listen.
Just keep this in mind as you are creating friendships throughout your life, is that when everything is going good, it's high time for your acquaintances. But when things are not so good, the acquaintances will slowly shift to the back. And the times that are not so good are really the times that define you as a human being. But guess what? When times are bad, your starting five are the ones that will help push you through.
Yeah, that was the whole
Okay.
explanation, y'all. So then when I got there, I said, okay, maybe what he's talking about, maybe what he's talking about is all of this cancel stuff that hit before, right? And then how maybe all these people who said they were in his corner, maybe all these people he was associating with, working with, that were, supporting him and whatever, maybe they all backed up because they were scared of, being associated with him while he's being canceled. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that was his issue. He realized there's no real loyalty in the manosphere, at least not with the big names of which he's all associated with. And he said, no, y'all don't deserve my hard work and my time and any type of reciprocity from me because look how y'all are treating me now that I'm facing a hard time. When I've maybe he's even supported some of them in a hard time previously with his own content. So I don't know, maybe it has something to do with that. What do you think?
I think that's part of what it has to do with, but I think he's seeing what we're seeing, all the fake. I think this has to do with all the fake stuff going on, all the people flip flopping, all the people saying one thing and then doing another. Um, all the trolling going on. Now everybody's turning into trolls and now everybody want to talk about everybody. So it's like, what's going on here? Where's the original message that the Manosphere once had? I mean, we pretty much like veered away from that. That's
Hmm.
gone. That's far gone now. Now all they talk about is, trolling stuff and oh, women this, women that, it's just ridiculous. I That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's again, I mean, okay, a lot of us who were here at the time, when the gender war was happening, like 6, 7 years ago, whatever, right? So there was this gender war. And when the gender war was there, everyone was fighting against, like, the men were all fighting against the women. But then the gender war ended, and then the men just turned on each other. It was almost very strange. It's almost like they had so much fight left in them, but nowhere to turn it
Mhm.
on. And so they turned into each other. And suddenly you had all these different sects of the manosphere, and they were all hating each other and all warring with each other and all turning on each other. And I think that to some extent, even though I think the gender war has, reignited slightly, I don't think that anyone has 100%. Maybe they haven't gotten over that completely. And so there's less desire to just support another brother trying to build something, and more of a desire to be the winner, to be the one to be competing against other men in this space. Like this space used to be a place where you got to compete in the real world all the time, so you are going to come here to support each other.
Mhm.
And right, whereas in now it's like, no, that's not what this space is. It's like you're trying to win the space. Everyone's trying to win the manosphere. First place of the manosphere, second place of the manosphere, third place of the manosphere,
Mhm.
right? Like it's like it's a real space and a real place, and the prizes are just astronomical and really apply to real life. That's what it seems like. I don't know.
Right. Everybody's stepping on each other and stabbing each other in the back. I mean, I've been here about 2 years now. Um,
Hmm.
and let me tell you something. It's totally different than the way it was when I first came. So yeah, exactly. It's corny now. And I hate to say it, but it's, I don't I don't go on panels. I don't even go to the channels I used to go to because their message is no longer the same.
No, no,
So,
it's absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know what? Someone asked, and you know what? That's it's a fair point because some people might not be familiar with the content creator. So someone was asking about why did MTR get canceled? And so I want to show something really quick. I'm not going to show all of the Kevin Samuels footage he did. Y'all can go to his channel and check that out if you want to. Um, but if you could share this melody for me, I don't
yeah,
know.
sure. Let me go to it now.
Okay. Um, yeah, so but basically what happened is he did a collaboration with Kevin Samuels. And
Mhm.
people are not having an easy time of trying to get Kevin Samuels canceled, right? They had their petition at some point, right? I know that's what brought Riva into the space, was the Kevin Samuels petition, and so on and so forth. So I mean, they've been trying to cancel Kevin Samuels. It didn't really work, and so I guess MTR did this collaboration with Kevin Samuels. They were where I think it was in Vegas, and they asked some other person. I don't know her, the woman that they were interviewing and asking questions, kind of like wits on the streets, where you're just asking people questions. But it was like this one woman and her friend. I think she might be a real content creator, or maybe she's a star. I don't know. Point is, they were asking her
Mhm.
questions, they're answering, challenging her opinions, asking her. I mean, I didn't see anything that would make him an anti-feminist, misogynistic creator who bashes women, particularly Black women. I mean, I didn't see anything that would specifically support all of this upsetness, shall we say? But
Mhm.
obviously they did. And so what they did as a result was they wrote into places that they know sponsor him, because obviously, you announce your sponsors on the channel and whatever, and tried to get him fired in essence from, having the support. So, and it did work for some content creators, not for all of them. Some of them, some of the, like Tiege Hanley, for example, responded and said, yeah, I got some requests to cancel you. Yeah, I'm not silencing black men. So, do you. But he did actually lose a contract. And we're not talking about the YouTube contracts, which is what they were trying to affect. A real life one in his real world with his real income, his real life. So yeah, that's why he got canceled. He got canceled in essence because he believes in, not even, he's not really supporting red pill ideology. It's just the best way of describing him. If you think of a guy who's a Manosphere, red pill ideology, fairly balanced though, fairly fair, doesn't just attack black women, he does call black men out as well, and calls men out to be accountable. So when he points out what, say, some ain't shit woman's doing, excuse my French, and then he also points out what the man needs to do. He didn't say, see, these women just all need to change. He also says, man, y'all need to change too. Why are you dating this woman, or why are you this, or why are you that, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like he's fair and balanced out of all of the content creators. I'm not sure why they want to cancel him. Maybe because he is very successful. He's growing very quickly. And they don't want to see him live. I don't know.
Well, I don't know him well enough, but it could be envy. I mean, who knows? Once those numbers start growing, people start growing horns,
Hmm.
so you got to be careful.
Right. Oops, sorry. That's a fair point. And a couple points were brought up. I think, well, and you brought up this point as well. But so a couple people were saying that if you want to get a bunch of attention in the space, the best thing you can do is say you're leaving it. Right? I'm leaving the Manosphere. You know, people have said they're leaving the Manosphere that are still
Oh, I
here
hear it
to
all the
this day.
time. I hear it all the time. Yeah.
So many, right?
Mhm.
So maybe, could it be an attention ploy? That's something that some people were saying. But I think here's an important question. If you were really serious, if you really wanted to leave the Manosphere, not as an audience member, but as a content creator, so you still want to create content, right? But
Mhm.
you want to leave the Manosphere. You don't want to lose all your hard work. You don't want to lose your 300,000 subs and all the stuff that you've built over years, and your sponsorships and whatever. You just don't want to be part of the Manosphere anymore. Can you even leave? Can you leave? That is the question. Is it possible to leave this theoretical space on the internet? Is it possible?
I don't think it is. It's very addictive. Like, I've tried to stop coming up here, and it's just hard. So, look, Ramil Amir came back. He left. He
Yeah,
sold his
he
whole
did.
channel, and he came back. So that's an example of not being able to leave the space, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that Ramil is a good example. I mean, he all sold his channel. He sold his whole subscriber base. He came back. So I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
That's pretty funny. But I think even like from a not even from that perspective, I agree with you there. But I don't think you can leave, because I don't think it has anything to do with your choice to begin with, right? Like, um, whatever I say or you say or anyone says about them being a part of the Manosphere or not, it doesn't matter what you think about yourself. It actually doesn't. It only matters what your audience members think of your channel and what the majority of the Manosphere thinks about your channel, about whether or not you're in the Manosphere. This is what it comes down to. It doesn't actually matter what you think, because the Manosphere is not a real place. Like, Charlotte likes to bring this up a lot. Where is this space? Okay, it doesn't make any sense. It's not a real place though. Like, it's not a building, right? It's not a place with an address, so you can just leave that space with that address and not live there anymore. Like, it's not a
Right.
real place. It's a theoretical place. It's a place that, based on the content and your gender and your point of view, you are associated with, but it's not a real place. So unless you changed your content and your opinion and maybe even your gender, I don't see how you could leave, because people are still going to associate you with the manosphere. Like, how you think he's gonna turn around and start supporting women tomorrow? Like, I don't think so. I
So,
don't think that's gonna be a thing.
so back to the question I asked you earlier, Ruby.
Mhm.
Um, what was the question? What makes a person part of the manosphere? Like you said, it's not a place. So is it the things they're saying, their content?
Yep, 100%, 100%. Because it's not just that. For example, with the black manosphere, it's not just that you're black. It's not just that you're a man, right? Your content has to be specific to, let's say, general manosphere talking points. And so, for
Mm-hmm.
example, Abba and Preach, black men, not really considered part of the manosphere. They're obviously considered part of the black sector loosely, but they're not considered part of the manosphere, right? Because their content isn't really manosphere. Like, sometimes they might do the occasional video that is very much about men's rights, men's perspectives, just about building and growing, men, black men specifically, talking about black men's challenges and stuff like that. But they
Mm-hmm.
also talk about other things, right? So they're not really, like, some people might want to consider them a manosphere or manosphere adjacent, I think is what I've heard a lot, but they're not manosphere, right? But then
Right,
TLA came in, and from day one, he was part of the manosphere, right? He's
right,
a lawyer who talks about men's rights and issues from a black male lawyer's perspective, right? And it's all with the goal of addressing black men's issues and addressing change for black men, in essence, right?
right.
So
But
that to me is
how
minister.
is somebody like Tommy Sotomayor not
Mhm.
manosphere? Because he said he's not. Or Lapeef Let's Talk. How are they not manosphere? They talk about men's issues and men's rights.
Yeah, I think Lapeef and Tommy are two different stories. So I'm going to start with Tommy. Tommy is, I'm going to say, the originator almost, in a way. But he came out, a lot of dudes, a lot of guys who are really OGs in this sector started off watching Tommy. They were audience members, and then that inspired them to want to, join in on the movement. So I think in a lot of ways, right, Tommy started this thing he wanted to do personally, he wanted to address, again, didn't really care what the overall men's rights movements or issues or anything is. Like, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about building up black men. He doesn't like black people in general. I mean, he's not just critical about black women. He's also critical about black men. He's critical about black people. He's critical. Like, it's not just, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have a goal of, he's doing this content to help black men. Like, no, he's doing the content he does when he calls out, these certain types of women and whatever. He's doing it to
Right,
shame the women. He's doing it to slap people down because it entertains him and because he thinks it's true. But not, I think with the particular goal of helping. I don't think that's really his point. And I do think that that's different than having a goal of helping. Let me teach y'all something. Let me open your eyes to something.
that makes
Um,
sense. So,
right?
okay, so you're saying manosphere content is supposed to be to help you, whereas with someone like Tommy, he's trying to hurt you. Is that what you're saying?
I think he's more trying to entertain himself. I don't really think he's trying to hurt or help anybody. I think he's just entertaining himself deeply. Um, and to be fair, there are things that Tommy does that I've watched and I've been deeply entertained by, right? So even while I've been offended by some of the things he said, because I don't like some of the things that he said, and it's not just about black women or calling them out, like, he says stuff about black people. And I don't like
Right.
to hear him say certain things. But then guess what? His white audience turned on him a couple of years ago because he said some stuff about white people they didn't like. Right. So, I mean, I think he just calls it as he sees it. And it's not, it happens to fall nicely into a particular space mostly. But that, I don't think that's his goal, So that's first thing. Second thing is, he looks down on a lot of people in the space. And he always did, always said. He made it very, very clear. He looked down on a lot of people in the space for a variety of reasons. Thought they were a bunch of losers who couldn't get women and da da da, and that's why they were complaining. Whereas he was sleeping with women constantly all the time while saying all these things. So I think he also looked down on the movement rights, the Red Pill movement and men's rights movements and stuff like that in a way. So he disassociated himself from very early and never gave anybody in the space a chance to associate him with the space because he said he
Um,
wanted no part of it from jump. Like now he's coming around, but it's been a lot of years that the space has been here and he has not. So
well, I heard him say that the Manosphere is copying off of his talking points.
some of them are. Some of them started that way. I mean, I wouldn't know if they still are, but I would say some of them started off that way because when you're an OG, right? If you start off, okay, if you and I, right, like let's say there was no other women in this whole entire space, okay, and
Hmm.
then you and I started bringing up stuff about the way a woman thinks, okay, and then a whole bunch of women came in after they're gonna start repeating stuff that we said, even if they've never heard us speak before. They're gonna start repeating stuff we said, right? Because we were here first, and everyone knows us. And then they come across them, and they're gonna go, I heard this before. Well, yeah, of course you did, because people who generally believe the same things, have the same general opinion, same general life, same general age group, are gonna generally say the same things, right? For the most part, give or take. That's that's
Right.
how it is. That's how the internet is. There's nothing is original. Nothing is original on the internet. Nothing. Y'all stop crying if you're sitting there and crying every day about how someone or another stole your content, stole your idea. Because guess what? Before you had that idea, you stole it from someone else. And before that person had an idea, they stole it from someone else. Everything is stolen 17,000 times over before you ever touch it. Like, let's be real. Nothing's
Right.
original.
Right. Speaking of that, we will have a guest next week, guys. I can't wait
Mm-hmm.
for that. Who claims people stole her talking points? So look out for that.
Mm.
Right. And then also, we have a name. We came up for a name for our show. So we will be doing, we'll talk about that at the end of the stream, basically. But right
Mm.
now, I dropped the StreamYards link. So if you want to come up and let us know what you dislike the most about the Manosphere. That's what I want
Mm.
to know.
I want to know if you think you can even leave the Manosphere, and I want to know if you think MTR is really leaving, or if it was, and why do y'all think MTR left? I want to know lots of things because I don't
That's
have
what
the
I want
answers
to
to any of
know.
these questions, right? I really don't know at all. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I want to know. Why you think he left? Like I said, it's the fakeness. It's just the people being fake. That's honestly what I think it is.
Yeah, but then you could
Mm.
just not speak to the fake people. I mean, ultimately, this is the thing, right? Like, even I said this, I think it was last week, but I said it to someone. I said, listen, I don't care if you believe me, sir. I don't care if you agree with me, sir. I don't care if I'm changing your mind. We don't have debates on panels to change the minds of the panelists. We don't. We have debates to educate the audience.
Mhm.
That's who it's about, right? Like there aren't 375,000 content creators in the Black Manosphere, but he has 375,000 audience members, right? So
Right.
from that perspective, it's like him leaving the space. Is it about all the fake people? Well, guess what? His fake audience members are going to follow him whatever space he's in. So he's not. He can't leave his audience. I mean, he could technically, but I mean, how?
He's probably
Unless you
going
want
to
to start
change
again.
his content. That's all he's going to do, if anything.
I'm not sure. I I'm not sure if he would. Oh, see, look, Melody, look, Omega Dreads doesn't think you're annoying. Notice he mentioned you
Aw,
specifically, though. I know Omega Dreads thinks I'm annoying, though. It's fine. I've known him for
he
years. He's
didn't
always thought I was
say
annoying. I'm fine with
that.
that. No,
Why? Did he say he thought you was annoying before?
oh, listen, I've annoyed at least three-quarters of our audience most of the time. I'm going to say that. But no, some of them have outrightly criticized me for how I speak, that I speak too much, that I speak too long. It's like something. Yeah, no, definitely. But I'm pretty sure Megan Trent is one of those people. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
silly. Said he can go
See
hiking
what
with
he
me and not regret it.
said? See what he said? Well, Canada.
Canada. There we go. But
Yeah.
yes, I
Oh,
don't know. I mean, have you ever considered leaving and not
oh, I
being
did leave.
analyzed?
Oh, I left. I'm gone. People don't see me. People keep asking me where I am. I come to the very specific panels that I am on, and otherwise, you almost never see me as a spectator anymore. Almost never, because I left. I left the general manosphere. Whereas in before, I used to generally be around. So whatever was going live next, whoever was up next, oh, who's the new content creator who's coming up? I want to check them out. I was all about this space. I left. I'm gone. I support the things that I already support, and that's it. And actually, a lot of that has even dropped off significantly. First of all, I don't have time. Second of all, I don't have energy. Third of all, I don't see why I'm going to 15 different channels. They're all saying the same thing. They're all talking about the same thing. And then I'm just
Mhm.
seeing a whole bunch of people that I used to know that used to think XYZ that now all of a sudden think ABC because ABC is the popular thing to think, and so on. So yeah, I did leave, and my channel's not in the space obviously. So
So, yeah, I noticed that you don't even go live on your channel.
never did, never will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, wasn't my thing. But no, I stopped making content a long time ago. And I stopped making content because I came here for a specific reason. I thought I could help people. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I thought I could help people. Um, so I was helping people in real life, and my
Mhm.
health hit a wall, and I was no longer able to leave my house. And I
Mhm.
was tired of not thinking, and I tried to find somewhere I could think, and then I found somewhere I could think. I said, I want to help people because I know I've helped a lot of people in real life. And what I figured out, it took a lot of years, is that no one wants any help. Nobody cares to have any help. Nobody cares, like they don't. Honestly, people do not want help. And so at that point, I was like, oh, so the only way that y'all are going to care is if I sit there and jump into the drama and jump into the this and jump into the that. And you want me to spend like a week doing editing and really pouring myself into a topic, but it's got to be drama or else you don't care. You don't care about the educational value. You don't care about actually changing your reality so that way it's not all garbage. Oh, forget this. I'm done. And that was
Right.
it. I was done.
But before we go on, Ruby, can you say something? Family values? I want to make sure you're not a troll.
Yes, hey,
Oh,
how are you guys?
hi.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, lovely to see you. What do you have for us tonight?
Well, you asked what we don't like about the manosphere.
Hmm.
Before I go there, I just would like to highlight that I do love the manosphere, and what I love about it is the change that I see in mindsets of women. It's like basically shaking females up, realizing, okay, our men has had enough with our attitude. We need to do something. And
Hmm.
I appreciate that aspect of it because it's waking us up, it's shaking us up. Like, we got to get it together, ladies. But what I dislike about what's going on is the hopelessness in it all. The men are so hopeless, and they're spreading their hopelessness to the younger generation. And like, I ran across a few different men that have said, oh, Western women, they're just good for sex and use them. And then we go marry someone from a different country. And it's like, bro, so you're saying that you are here to perpetuate the issues we have. Why would
Yep,
you continue to damage more women, make more broken homes? Because most likely these women going to get pregnant and then you're not going to be there. And it's ridiculous because I don't see solutions. Can we get to the solutions?
Right. So you're saying instead of running, talking about SYSBM, help the women here, get with the women here, start families with the women here.
Right,
Don't
because
run away from the problems. That's what
yeah,
you're saying.
exactly. There's plenty of women that I've been running across that are doing the work, that are getting the therapy and trying to do the best that they can. And a lot of these men are like, well, that's still not good enough because they're Western, and those mindsets is just in them, which is understandable. It is harmful, the culture that we live in, and we probably will never be exactly like these Filipino ladies that y'all finding from these other countries, because we weren't raised that way. But at the end of the day, we are doing the work, we're taking the accountability, but they are saying no. no, it's not good enough. I'm not willing to do it. And in the same breath, they're saying they need a submissive, cooperative woman, but want that same woman to have a job.
What do you say about that,
Exactly.
MD?
No,
Which makes no
no.
sense to me at all.
No, because it doesn't, because what they don't realize, right? They've never lived in a true patriarchy either. So they don't understand that while in a true patriarchy, there are a lot of expectations on women. And of course, they love all those expectations on women, but they don't understand the role they would have to fulfill, right? That
Exactly.
those women expect them to fulfill. And in return, they're going to give their 150% best, super feminine, super beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. Whereas if we're comparing the Western woman to that woman over there, then hey, maybe you're going to get a better deal if you can provide fully financially and completely and whatever. But since the average or the majority here need to live in a two parent income household, you know what I mean? You need your significant other to work in some way outside of the household, then you're already setting her up to have to break from, traditionality and from being a traditionally feminine woman, traditionally protected woman and whatnot. But then still expecting her to come home and then be a completely traditional woman. And when that doesn't happen, well, it's annoying and frustrating. I kind of get that, but we don't live in a collectivist society where women don't work and men do, and that's it. We just don't live in that. Like,
But
that's not what it is.
it really isn't. But at the end of the day, it's possible. It's very possible. You don't have to be rich or higher middle class in order to do that. You just have to live amongst your means.
Agreed. You see, modern women don't want to put down the red bottoms and stuff like that. They don't want to. They want to eat takeout and they want to tip the Uber Eats person every time they get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And talking about, oh, we can't do this without two incomes. No, you can't do that without two incomes. But you can have like a modest, pay less Walmart existence and eat and drink and shelter and still get your man a sandwich, provided that y'all have money for a sandwich. Have to whatever the median household income is more than enough to do it. Immigrant populations do it all the time. What Ruby is doing is she's trying to set a new bar, saying that you don't meet that bar, therefore, I'm going to continue to be this way. And that is, in family values, that is why there's so much hopelessness in it. That's why there's
Uh-huh.
so much
Wait,
hopelessness in Western women.
no, that's no. Sorry, hold on. Let me respond first. Now, the thing is, right, and we can try to twist what I said as many ways as we want, but what it comes down to is this. And I'm looking at it from actual life experience, but also if you just look at the data, look at the numbers as far as how much does it cost to raise a baby or a child from birth to 18, divide that per year. That's how much extra you're going to need per family, per household, right? Per child. And so when you look at two adults, right, and let's say two children, right? So this is a 4-person household, right? Then you look at how much does that cost just to live a comfortable middle class lifestyle? Not even like living the fancy red bottoms and all that crap, but just like comfortable, just normal comfortable. And then what does the average person make? What is and what you look at is, oh, wait a minute, yeah, you're right, $40,000, which is what the average person's income is. $40,000 can definitely feed you in poverty, right? Feed you hand to mouth syndrome. And so what I've never suggested, right, is that because of that, because women have to work, or because a lot of people in these situations would therefore have to work, that therefore they should be disrespectful, they shouldn't be feminine, they should be this, they should be that. I never suggested that. However, what I am suggesting is that when we look at whole other cultures where wives do not work at all, right, and it is on the man fully to provide for women, fully, completely, oftentimes from childhood onwards, even when they're adults, and daddy's just going to keep providing for you fully until you have the husband and whatnot. It's a different culture. And so they're cultured differently. And there are expectations on women, and the expectations are obviously a lot more traditional, but there are expectations on the men as well that the men here have not been raised under either.
And no, yes, they have. You see, here's the thing. When you say cultured differently, I say cultured better. And family values, you want to know why men prefer those women? Because they are cultured better. That's the
Mhm.
thing. They are cultured in the way that we want. They put family over finance. And that's what we want. And we don't want to have to make, three times the national average in order to do that.
Mhm.
If a man, I'm sorry, not every man makes 120K. So if he can fly to a place where his 40Ks gets him treated like a man that can provide a house and a stove, then he's going to do that and be with a woman that appreciates it and not saying, oh, well, I have to work in order to get blah, 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 blah. You don't need all that stuff. I'm sorry, it's a better deal. It's a better deal. It's like when you go to places, right? I'll give example. Hold on. God damn it. Is that an eyelasher? There's a hair on my lip. Is it mine? Yeah, eyelash hair.
You're bold, GC.
It's an eyelash hair. All right, so
But
it can't be mine. But anyway, um, so it's like this. Listen, my parents were separated, and I used to go to my mom every other weekend, and in the summertime, right now, and my mom lived near a place temporarily. She lived near a place that used to have a hostess place where hostess food went to die, meaning that when a hostess cupcake was expired for the grocery store, but still good enough to eat, it would stop off there and give the little boys in the neighborhood one last chance to buy it before they completely burned it or did whatever, which means that we got five of them. And that's five zingers, that's five hostesses, the cupcakes, that's five anything that they make, right? You get five of them for $1. And this isn't just because it was the 80s, because back then you got one for $1. You get five for $1, right? So you want to know what that did to my brain? That did to my brain. It made me wait until it was my turn to go to my mom's house. Um, her weekend or her summer or whatever, to get my hostess fix, and I would buy it and keep it during the week. Why? Because her location offered a better deal. It offered a better deal, not even close. It tasted the same. It was just a little bit older than a regular hostess. That is why fellas go, and it's not out of hate. We're just saying offer a reasonable deal, offer a reasonable better deal. But nope, they don't want to do
game
that.
changer.
And then they come with theories. You see, here's the thing. Most relationship begins with with one income, and he meets a woman in an apartment, and he meets a woman in a separate apartment on her own income. And so it's two people living off one income, and for whatever reason, you can't get together and live together off the same one income in the same one apartment that he already had when you met him. Go for it.
Game changer. I think you misunderstood what I said. Absolutely, I understand why men want to go to go to other countries. The issue that I have with that is that these same men are saying that they will use the Western women for sex. They will use them, take advantage of their mindsets, and then go get what is best, a wife in a different country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my issue is that why continue the cycle that we're trying to break by using the women that you don't feel is worth your commitment? Don't have sex with them either.
Okay, I'll respond to
I
that. But
agree.
I'm gonna respond to
well,
this.
can I say something
Mm-hmm.
real quick? No, because I do.
Yeah,
I am
let
about to
GC
go.
respond and then Mel, you're next.
Okay, a couple of things. Wayman Casey, unless you're 80 years old, you didn't get Twinkies for a dime. I don't care. Listen, it was no better than that five for $1 deal. Who got Twinkies for a dime? What are you, 100 years old? You got the original Twinkies when it was baked out the oven by a old white grandma or something crap like that. Who got Twinkies for a dime? That's cap. That's
Mm-hmm.
cap.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Twinkies for a
Or
dime.
done.
And anyway, it's not an option to men. And I'm sorry, ladies, I know you don't want to hear it, but it's not an option to men for us not to use you for sex. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't think you know what sex is. It's like Twinkies to kids. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean not use you for sex? Wait, you want us to abstain and then just hold it in until we have a plane ticket or something? Nope, nope. Using women for sex is what men do. That's how you got here. You, I,
No, we want you to wife the women you give children to.
no. Now, children is different. Children is different. I do agree with that statement. However, and I'm sorry, I know it seems wrong to a woman's point of view, from a woman's point of view, and it is wrong. You know, don't expect us not to sleep with you.
Is wrong because morally is wrong on top of the fact that a lot of these women are conditioned in this way. A lot of women don't understand the path that they're going. That's why I say I love the Manosphere, because it's opening our eyes to the dangerous path that we were going down. But
Mhm.
a lot of us were born into it. Our mothers taught us this. Our
Mhm.
and the culture is teaching and brainwashing us into. I'm not taking all responsibility off of women. Of course, we should have value for our bodies and ourselves. But
I
I'm
agree.
just saying it is messed up for men to see this, acknowledge this, know this, then take advantage of it. Those I don't call real men.
Okay,
I
so
just,
I
I just
agree.
say
I,
this
I
real
agree
quick
that
before I
society.
forget. Hold on, let me say this real quick before I forget.
Mhm.
The men you're talking about in the space, the SYSBM men, they don't have sex with the black women. They completely cut them off and they go overseas. Um, I'm trying to understand what men you're talking about.
No, she. I think she's talking
Ah!
about. I think she's talking about. I don't know if you want your camera on, but it's on.
Oh, she's
But
really pretty.
Oh,
I
I
only.
missed it. Damn it. I
She
I,
miss
came back.
everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can rewind it, but I only seen half. But the top half of her face is pretty.
she's
Like
pretty. Yeah.
like all kind of like mustache and pimples and stuff at the bottom, Santa Claus and stuff at the bottom. But no, like from what we've seen, yeah, it is.
Yeah, she
But
has a pretty face.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
but
welcome.
but no, no. Listen, what do you expect, family values? What do you expect us to do? It's all we got. It's all we got. See, society has told y'all to offer nothing but sex and money, not even a sandwich. That's all you
Hmm.
got. And they told you to give that, and we take it. What else do we have from modern women? What else do we have? If y'all want to slut walk y'all way to our penis and then say, I want to pay half the bills, what are we going to say? No? I mean, yes. And I'm going to be honest. As a man, I think, oh, they stupid. But I like sex and money. And that's what can we do?
Right. That's why it's
Not
important
for
for us
taking
ladies to
to
keep
make
each
y'all
other.
smart. Oh, go for it.
No, I get what you're saying. That's why we can't depend on men to change. We have to do the inner work in ourselves. I understand that. I was just
Hmm.
saying that I see a lot of. I've had conversations with men who said this, came to my channel and said, "Oh, I'm gonna just sleep with all the Western women and leave." Like, I find that problematic because I'm about solutions. I'm about family. I want to see our community grow and get better, not
Hmm.
continue down this toxic cycle. And I'm all about holding women accountable, but I also know that men play a part as well. And we can't sit here and say that we want better for our communities. We want better for women and for them to do better while you still say, I'm going to use y'all in the
Hey,
You
same.
know what?
can I say something now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mel,
go
it's your
you go ahead,
turn. Go
Mel.
ahead.
Mhm.
All right. Now, what's your name again, sweetheart?
Jasmine.
Jasmine. How you doing, Jasmine?
Ryan, how are you?
All right. Number one. I understand what you're coming from and everything. I'm a solution based also too. But see, this is also another part of the manosphere, black manosphere, everything. Red pill and blue pill. The red pill reality, I mean, blue pill reality is we was taught to think girls is not promiscuous. We could get with them if it's in the form of a marriage by being this good standing man, and then she'll fall in love with us. She's not supposed to get freaky and everything. No, reality red pill. Even the good girls, church girls, the lawyers, judges. Even I could probably even say our vice president got a little slut in them. That's reality. The reality
Okay.
about this, we cannot save everybody. And I'm gonna shout out Angry Man because I seen the show last night. He talked about this last night. I'm gonna use this as his analogy. This came from him. You got different stores, right? Got this store for
Mhm.
this, get this store for that, this store for that.
Mhm.
Pertaining to what type of store you want to go through, you cannot go to one store and expect to have things from this store into that store. If you want things to be in a certain store that you want to go to, you have to go to that store that pertains to you. It's the same thing in the manosphere. We're not trying to save everybody. It's not made for everybody. We see this. We see this. Every organization is going to have extremists. We have a mission. We focus on it, spread it, even help some brothers. But there will be knuckleheads along the way, bad apples along the way. We can't not save everybody. And also too, we even go through fights with some of these dudes also too online. I've seen it myself. I debate with some of these guys myself. How you on one channel panel that's for marriage and relationship, but you got some guys come on that channel trying to promote pump and dump, MGTOW and all that crap. And my thing is like, why are you here?
Right.
You're not for marriage. So why are you listening to this show right now? Go to your show and promote what you wanted to promote. Why are you going on to if you're about casual sexual relationships? Why are you going on a channel that's for finance and stuff? This channel is about finance. You're trying
Mhm.
to promote promiscuous sex to a finance channel or a finance show. Go to your
Mhm.
channel or your crew and promote that way. That's the whole thing. People come.
Right.
We have got too many ideologies also too, and it coincide. We are providing solution based, and there's some men that benefited and got better outcomes of each other. I know
Okay.
you probably might have focused more on the streaming channels. There's so many out there. Of course, we know you've seen it yourself. Sometimes when you provide solution based, some people focus on the numbers on their watch list. It goes down. Then when there's some drama going on, you see it skyrocket back up. We do
Well,
got a lot of faiths also too, but
Can
we can't get through everybody. Everything's not going to be 100% perfect.
can we have this compromise? This is a compromise I suggest. Um, I would like for women to understand that we are going to pump regardless, provided that she's attractive enough, and we will give her an opportunity to not get dumped. Each woman who gets a pump, because we're men, we're going to pump, but we at least give her an opportunity to not be dumped. Is that fair?
I think that that's fair. I think that that's part of my problem, at least, with because I call it women whose solutions for women are destructive to men. And so, and it's like, I don't care about them. I don't care because there are some terrible men. We can destroy all of them as long as we're getting ours. I think that that's trash coming from women. And so, I have the same problem. If I hear when I hear men say things like, I hear you, Mel, okay, every woman has a little bit of slut in them. I mean, well, I guess because women like sex, that means they have slut
Yeah,
in them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and keeping the buck, we all like sex, and in some
Right,
cases,
but
yeah,
that
women
doesn't
can
mean
be a
we have
slut for
sluts.
either casual partners or for her longtime boyfriend or husband.
Right, but
That's
here's the
the
thing though, not
reality of that.
every woman, hold on. First of all, not every woman has an enjoyment for casual sex in them. I never had
No, no,
casual sex
hold on,
ever.
don't try to twist it. Yeah, that's what no.
Right,
You
but
said
let me
That's the whole
finish
you
what I'm
mean
reality thing
saying
about it.
first,
There's
Mel.
different types of women. There's some women that what, yeah, they're gonna engage in casual sex. Some women are not. Every
Right,
woman
but
has a
Mel, let
little
me
slut in them.
finish
Yes,
what I'm
they
saying,
do. Fact
please.
is,
Please.
it's what's the intentions? Yes, if they're gonna do it
Right.
in a
Mel,
casual,
Mel, Mel.
casual partners, or are they
She's the
gonna
host.
do it with their longtime boyfriends or
Mel, she is the
husband?
host. Let her finish her thing.
Thank you. Okay. And so now here's the thing, and this is why I have an issue in general with us, and I see exactly what Family Values was saying. What Jasmine was saying, is that so there's a problem, or at least I hear the problem when it's like, okay, first of all, men want and they value, right? The younger, hotter, sexier, childless woman, right?
Mhm.
That's what all men are going to value on average. And so that's what all men are going to be vying for. That's fine, especially if, as Game Changer just said, it's no, well, yeah, we're going to pop, but I am going to try to date you, see if there's a reason for me to stick around, or let's, actually go somewhere with it. I have full respect for that. That's how dating, I guess, really was. But now you have, and it's getting larger, this mindset of, first of all, you're targeting these prime women who are in prime conditions, right? Because you don't want the dirty like hoe woman. No, you want the younger, hotter, sexier, childless one that's not all masculine and this and that and whatever, which means, she's on the decent side of things. And then let's all target her to pump and dump. Right. Well, what do you think happens when this woman has, constant attention from men, but then she buys into it, and because he's using all the right game and getting it, and she really believes that he wants something with her, and then the second she gives it up, he's gone, and then it's the next. Well, that's when women get bitter and angry, and then and it's a cycle, right? It's the same thing as, well, what do you think, ladies, when you decide to target men and you teach young women to target men, and then get them set up to be robbed or to steal all their money or to screw them over, whatever it is. Well, that's what makes these men go from loving, caring, sweet men and husbands to the ones who want to pump and dump. So it's just, I have an issue with perpetuating either side of the message, because you're just perpetuating the cycle that's very destructive to both sides ultimately.
Well, I mean,
that's the whole thing. You keep watching too much extremists. I've seen channels also to provide solutions, ain't even realistic view. Not every guy's gonna get with a young 20-year-old. That's a fact. You gotta, and just like every female's not gonna get with a high value 6-figure dude. That's a fact. They sometimes have to promote. You gotta take a deal that makes sense. There are some guys that's going to wife up a woman with kids. There are some guys that going to wife up a woman that's a little bit older. There are some women that's going to get wifed up by a dude that might be a little bit shorter than them. There are some girls that is a little bit overweight that's going to get wifed up. The fact is, we provide solutions for different things. The problem is, when we do provide solutions, they get ignored. They get ignored so much. I've seen the solutions being provided so many times, but they get ignored because other people go extreme with it. Just like you were saying, Ruby, you say all this stuff. That's true. That's the whole problem. So many people provide so much stuff, and people are so frustrated. You got to understand, from the man's point of view, also too. We've been hearing this from women's side, one-sided, for so many years, from the 60s all the way to the 90s, the media, all that stuff. Now men have platforms for themselves to speak their truth, and we're trying to guide them back. Okay, you find out the reality, truth of what it is. They're gonna go through a little rage, but we're trying to bring them back. Are we gonna bring all them back? Of course not. But we try to save as much as we can. But nothing's not going to be 100% perfect. As I said, I don't promote marriage to everybody, but in some situations, I'm tired of seeing kids out of wedlock. So you know what? Time to be responsible. Wear that condom. Or females, make sure he wear that condom. Make sure you're on your birth control and everything. Be straight honest with your intentions. Everything. There's solutions for everything. And even men in certain situations for like child support, finances, all that, mental.
See, I agree, right? I agree with you, Mel. And to go back to something GC said earlier, and this is why, for all that, sometimes people can't understand why I don't have a problem with anything GC says, because what he says to me logically makes sense. And that is to say, for example, for all of his expectations of women, right? He has expectations of himself as a man as well, right? And so for all we want to say, well, maybe I don't think your expectations are unreasonable. You see, not everyone thinks like you, because we know in this space, for example, the logic of, she's a foreign woman, she didn't have a stove, I wanted her to cook for me, I bought her one so she could cook for me while I was there, having a good time, being catered to by her and sleeping with her, and she's gorgeous, and that's what I wanted to do, so that's what I did. And guys had all kinds of problems with that idea, right? And so that is what, from a patriarchal kind of standpoint, it's perfectly logical to think that way. I want that beautiful maiden. She doesn't have something I need her to have in order for her to take care of my needs. So I'm going to buy her that thing so she can take care of my needs. Exactly. Right? That's logical.
I agree with you. Yeah, I hear you. Definitely. That's how we tell some dudes also too. Like, they always listen to how some of the content creators get on women so much, but when they get on the dudes and everything, now they're getting mad. But reality, yeah, some dudes got to be getting on also too. Here's the reality: you expect her to be submissive towards you, then you got to exhibit masculinity traits for her to be submissive. There's a difference between a woman being feminine and submissive. Just because she's feminine doesn't mean she has to be submissive towards you. Because what you as a man do for her to be submissive towards you? Submissive means relinquish of power. How can she trust you to have power over her if you're unsure of yourself as a man? I want to tell every female don't be submissive to every man like that. No, because every man's not a man.
And
But
that's
some
why
women
Just
are
like I
just
tell every man,
naturally
every dude,
submissive,
don't
Mel.
provide your protection
You
for
know
every
that, right?
female because every female is not feminine.
You
What?
heard me now? I mean, most women are naturally submissive, though.
Her words is true.
yeah.
Her
Hmm.
words is true. I think that the West and its engineered culture is taking women out of their natural submissive state. And I mean, but once
Correct.
again, and it's putting them in a very masculine state. To aggressively offer or seek sex is a masculine thing. And that is the only level that you can meet a modern woman on. Now, once again, and here's what disturbs me about what Family Values says is because it's the wrong takeaway. You see, I think part of the conditioning is what a woman takes away from a pump and dump situation. I think that what they take away from it is like, oh, I shouldn't have let him pump me. When really they should be taken away, like, why did he dump me? You see, because modern society has taught women that all women offer is sex, meaning that, when a woman gets pumped and dumped, she feels like he took her all. But if she was an actual, true, natural woman, she would feel like, you know something. He missed out on the best of me. He missed out on my submission. He missed out on my femininity. It's his. He's a very lowbrow person because he only wanted this aspect of me. He's like a kid that got a present and then he just played with the wrapper. He's stupid. So he don't deserve it. I would like for them to see it that way versus oh dang, I wish I haven't given that kid the wrapper. No, he missed out on the best of her because he's been conditioned as well. But
Well,
uh,
honestly, I
But there's
believe
other conditioning. Sorry, go ahead, Jasmine.
you're right. It's conditioning. Like, honestly, I believe us women shouldn't be giving that away so easily in the first place. He should have been
Hmm.
knew about her submissive nature and what she can offer him besides sex.
well, whatever truth in that there is, don't expect men not to take it.
Right. Yeah,
Like
I understand that
yeah,
if it's offered there, I mean, men are men. I
yeah,
get that.
that's all I wanted. That's why I came up. That's what I wanted you to understand more than anything. We are going to take it. It does not make you less of a man if you're. I mean, if she's fat, it does because that's not a woman. But it doesn't make you less of a man to sleep with attractive women. It doesn't.
No, but here's a part of my issue too, right? So then we get, and that's why I said there's a bunch of different standards we're talking about, right? And so now as a woman, right, you let's say you're not a hoe, right? I'm not talking about the 304s, the for the streets types. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the women who in their lifetime they're only gonna have a single digit body count, not even high, okay? But they end up believing people they shouldn't have believed. They have invested into the man. They're buying into everything that he has to say, whatever. And okay, they buying into the forever dream that he's selling her, but he's only selling it to her to get in there. Right now, she's submissive, she's feminine, she's beautiful, she takes care of herself, she takes care of her man, the whole nine. She was even conditioned correctly, right? It doesn't block you from being used and discarded. And so, then, like I said, over time that happens a couple times to you, then it makes you feel bitter. But the most important part about that is then you start being judged from society, and society tells you that you're worthless or you'll never get a husband now because now you're used merchandise, right? You're damaged goods. So now you're damaged goods because you thought you that stuff with this guy was forever and you loved him and then you slept with him and then he left you, and it's like, I mean, from the man's point of view, right? I'm not saying that men don't deserve, submissive, feminine women who will take care of their man and prioritize family. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, though, is I think when we have that discussion, a lot of times we only really talk about the 304 for the streets kind of girl. And we don't really talk about these women before they become that way. And they just say, forget it. Well, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. And no men are ever going to be honest. No men are ever going to be faithful. All men are just trying to use you for sex. So the best thing you can do, right, since they were all telling us 10 years ago, charge it to the game, right, is get better at the game. And that's what's happened to a lot of people too. So we have to realize that, some of these problems we've perpetuated ourselves, from both sides. And then, participating in the problem is that going to make things better or worse, not just for yourself, but for the upcoming generation who are modeling themselves after this generation?
Well, Ruby,
Okay.
what you would say would be true if we did not live in a if we don't have an existing hookup culture. You know, that may have been true in the 80s where a guy would pretend to be Mr. Right in order to get her into bed. You know, where he would go on this masquerade and pretend to be, you know, a gentleman, hold the door open and come with the flowers and lay down his jacket so she could walk over a puddle. Like that would be the case if we lived in that time where that was necessary. We live in hookup culture to where you don't have to do all of that. Meaning that the guys who do all of that is probably because he is that dude. In fact, in modern culture, being that relationship guy would work against you if you wanted casual sex. So there are very few pretenders out there. So the women who are 3 or 4 saying, "Oh, it's because he was a pretender," that's BS. It's because she has embraced modern culture.
Well, I agree that there are definitely some women who have just embraced modern culture, or it looks more fun, or it's more profitable because we talked about how being an OnlyFans girl pays off more than being the virtuous girl who doesn't put your pictures online. Fine.
Mhm.
But there are also women like myself, despite hookup culture, despite how easy it is to get from the free girls over there who are just passing it away like free candy. But guess what? They don't want the free candy girl. They like the challenge of the virgin. They like the challenge of the good girl. They like to know they could conquer the unconquerable. And there are definitely guys who still pursue that. I had a boyfriend for 8 months. Eight whole months. We were in love, met the parents and the sister and vice versa. And we were like building towards something. I thought we were really going somewhere. I really did. And the day we slept with each other that night, the next day he said he wasn't looking for anything serious and we should just be friends. Remember, I'm his full blown girlfriend. Been to
Yeah.
a wedding with him,
No,
everything.
no,
The
no,
next
Can I,
day later,
can
the
I
no.
say
next day
something?
after.
Well, right quick. I
Change.
just
Let
want
me
to
say
point out,
something really quick.
if I may, right quick. I just want to say that that's what an idiot is. Why? Because he expended 8 months for a single sexual. Was it trash? Well, he expended 6 months of his life for a single sexual experience. It means one that he's gonna do it for. It's gonna be another 8 months before he gets some again. He gets laid once every year, 2 every 3 years. Like that is ridiculous to subjugate himself like that. And he,
No, game changer. That's not what that means. And the guys that know that women like myself who don't think that sex is part of the getting to know you process, right? Well, we're not virgins, right? We're not saving ourselves for marriage, but at the same time, we're not sleeping with you on the third date. Like I have never had sex with someone unless they were my boyfriend already. We're already committed towards each other. We're already in love, stuff like that. Like I'm not into the casual sex culture. So unless we're already committed, we gone and got tested the whole nine, I'm not sleeping with you, right?
Did you
And
Well, I
guys
think
know that.
from the
Hold on,
get go?
the guys that I've dated have all waited some of 6 months to a year or so, right? And they know that once I sleep with them, now I'm sleeping with you. So now we're having sex constantly, but that period of time, I'm not having sex as part of the getting to know you process. That's how I've kept that's how I kept my numbers in the single digits so
but,
low
but
because I
that's
wasn't just handing it
Um,
out like candy.
So,
no.
guys,
Like if you
go
make me
ahead,
wait eight
GC, and
months,
then I'm going to read the
I
super
could
chat. Okay, GC? After
well,
you
but if
go.
you make me eight,
All
if you
right.
make a man wait 8 months, then yeah, I mean, I would like my 240 sexes. Like that is how much you owe me for the wait time. Absolutely. But until I get that, then it might be time to dump. I don't know. The math is off. I'm
Okay.
sorry, family values.
No, it's cool. So, let me read the super
I'm
chat.
funny.
Thank you, GC. I appreciate you. Of course, you're back now, but thank
Thanks,
you.
GC.
Yeah, you
And Celine, thank you. She says most guys only give women who are sluts attention. So most women think, oh, I need to be a slut to get any attention. It's a lose-lose situation.
That's true, Grogu.
Yeah.
That's what her name was before, Grogu. What's up, girl?
Mhm.
What
Hey,
you
I
was
Celine.
you were
What do
saying
you mean
also,
what do you mean
it,
she has to be a slut in order to get any? Listen, we have to give you attention in order to get any sex. Of course, it's you want something that we have, and we want something that you have. Give me it.
remember there's a whole book written about this. Alan Curry wrote the book about this, the
Damn it.
possibility of sex and stuff. The problem is, most Ruby, I'm not faulting you for doing what you did. There's not many girls that do that. There are too many girls that give men the hope of getting laid, knowing the fact they was not going to sleep with them, or they even like them to begin with like that. They get free dinner meals, tensions, all that stuff. They know these guys. Right now, we live in a culture when females got multiple options. One guy that she actually sleeping with, one guy she makes the work to sleep with. The other three, she ain't giving them up at all, period, but giving them the hopes that they're going to get laid. Only one out of 5 guys is getting the sex for free, ain't got to do nothing. And that's the whole problem.
I interrupted family values.
Yeah, I just wanted to what Ruby was saying about, how these women that end up getting damaged because they waited, they took their time with this person, then when they finally have sex with them, it's like, they dump you. And I just wanted to say there is a solution to that. And I think our biggest issue is, I mean, my name is family values. It's family. A woman should always have a man in her life, whether it's her father, uncle, brother, that is vetting these men. She should never be, alone when it comes to choosing a man. And I think that's the biggest problem in our culture right now. There's good, submissive, feminine women being taken advantage of because they don't have any headship. There's no one that these men would have to answer to if they did do her wrong.
Well, you know what? You know why we're not
I agree with that.
as empathetic like we supposed to be? Because those females also got men in their corner who she looked over. We say this all the time. I say this all the time. Females recycle the same small percentage of men over and over and over. They use the large percentage of them as pair bonding. Like I said, free food dates, friend zones, all that. Most majority, that's 70% of dudes want to wife you up, but you ignore them. You go for the higher value dudes who always got options. Too much.
I agree.
Yeah, but Mel,
Men
but
want you in the
I think
bed.
that's a different demographic of women. I think I agree with you that demographic of women exists. I just think it's a different demographic of women, and we have to be careful not to make women or men into monoliths because they're not. And so when we're looking at the kind of woman who does it, she's just overlooking the good guy. I only dated the good guy. I was never into Mr. Popular, Mr. Shiny, Mr. Jaw. I was never really into that guy. I was always into the guy who's like the more quiet guy, the more shy guy. I was into the geeks and the nerds and the guys who were like, I was into that kind of guy. So all of my bad experiences, of which I've had, from the list of bad experiences women could have from, dating a man or being with a man, I've had all of them, right? And yet they were all with the quote unquote good guy. And actually, I only dated guys who had two parents, who were raised by two parents, like their parents in their home, because I figured my parents had separated. I didn't know what it was to have two parents together. I had a lot of divorce in my family, and I knew that I wanted to get married very early and start a family early. And I knew that it would be best to be led by somebody who understood what a marriage looks like, so they could lead me in it. So I only dated men who had a two-parent home. Right. And we're from more patriarchal mindsets to an extent. So I actually, when you're talking about these guys who get overlooked and whatever, I agree. That does happen from a segment of the population, but from girls like me and from the women that I would be in my microcosm that I've associated myself with and whatnot. And, you share the horror stories. We're not that demographic, right? Because it's not like all the guys who would do this wear a label or all the same. They're not. They come from all different demographics, all different heights and sizes and intelligence levels and educations and whatever, right? Because ain't shitness knows no bounds. It can come from everywhere.
It doesn't
Right?
matter.
You know something?
Congratulations, you're a small minority, but the
What-
mass majority that is happening. Period. What did you do after each breakup you went through with this guy? How many guys you dated before you actually got married? My bad.
I don't know how many guys I dated. Are you asking me I slept with? Like, it's a different
I
question.
don't care if you slept with, married. I mean, but you say you're a small number, so I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
But you're still married, so it's still a small amount. Each guy you break up with a situation with, you learn from this last one, but you have to work on yourself. We also teach some men that also too. In reality, you're going to get dumped along the way, going to get used. That happens. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and find out if you start seeing a pattern. After a while, you can't just blame the outside forces. You have to look at yourself in the mirror. That's the reality. Some of us have to look yourself in the mirror that, you know what, if I keep going through multiple breakups, despite I could be a good person, the best person, but I'm still going through the same patterns. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and realize you might be playing the strategy the same way and it's not working. You have to play something new now.
Well, Ruby, I will give you this,
Mhm.
because you deserve it, and that is, um, you're right. Not every person who's a nerd or a good guy or who irons his clothes and wears a sweater vest like myself.
Mhm.
Not all of us are necessarily open to relationships simply because we meet a square persona.
Mhm.
So I do understand that women can be fooled by that. Um, but I do think that there is an unreasonably high expectation that, and this comes not from you, Ruby, but typically from women who are used to dealing with thugs or
Mhm.
a different type of guy. There is a base assumption that we're easy and that all we need is a BJ or something like that, and we're on one knee. And those women,
Mhm.
they get fooled by me, but it's not malicious. No, it's not malicious. It's not like I'm going to do something malicious to them. It's like no, I've come to realize you know during the courtship process that disqualify you're disqualified as wife material. However, you are still sexual pleasure material. Therefore, and not telling them that is the only deceit that I have. But we're not malicious, and nor are we trying to break a good girl out of her good girliness or something like that. It just means that sometimes people who meet a good boy and a good girl persona still are not necessarily compatible.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but listen, we have other people on the panel, so I want to get to Blue. Blue, what's on your mind?
But wait, do you want to read the super chats first, Melody, since we paused, and then go on? Because
Well,
I think we have two now.
yeah, we have two new ones. You can go ahead and read that one by Michael.
Okay. So by Michael, thank you very much for the $5. And it
Thank
says in
you.
8 months, we can go from strangers to spouses. You tripping with that timeline? Well, hey, listen, for you, that's cool. Y'all, you can do you on your comfort line. The way that I feel about it, like I said, sex is not part of the getting to know you process. And so for me, sex was about sharing love that you already have. It's not just about sex and sexual gratification. So in and of itself, I wasn't willing to do it unless we were in love and heading somewhere. That's me. And if you wanted to date me when I was in the dating world market, then you were down to wait that 8 months. Now, I'm a little different than some other people, like our girl Vonda on Just Ask Shar. She's always up there, and she is in that 6 to 8 months or however long we're waiting. She won't allow, if you sleep with someone else, that's cheating, and she's done with you. Whereas in for me, if I'm not sleeping, you can sleep with other people. I don't really care about that once I'm with you, right? Then if we have to go get tested in the whole nine, right? Because I'm not gonna, you know, put my life at risk. But in that period of time, if I'm not sleeping with you, as long as you don't lie to me about it, I don't really care what you're doing with other people. So that's me. Okay.
There's too much
Right.
stuff. There's too much stuff and there's too much time. I don't want to do it. I tell you, if you tell me day one that I'd have to wait 8 months, I would simply just call you 8 months later and say, now is it cool? And then if you say no, then you won't hear from me again.
Hey,
Yeah, but Ruby,
you know what? That's you. But
encourage you.
I never ran out of people to date. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Not
Ruby.
everyone's
I
you.
mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck. There are some guys that are willing to wait, no matter what, and everything. The reality is, he wants to know if he's the only guy you're dealing with in that way. That's the whole thing. See, it's different now when women want to try that 90-day rule, but they're still seeing other guys on the side like crazy. And that dude's not seeing other girls. He's focused on you. Some good guys just want to focus on one girl. But the sad thing about it is some girls ain't focused on one guy. They use one guy for this, use one guy for that. He puts on all that work, and just like GC says, he did all that thing for 8 months, and in another situation, she was sleeping with someone else all the time, and then you use this dude the whole time. It's like that's the whole thing. There's no rate of return for that.
Right.
That's true. And actually, in my experience from dating, of most of the guys I date, including my husband, it's not like they just had this blanket policy where they would just wait for anybody. But they did their vetting and their scouting around to find out about me and found out no, I'm not. Hey, I'm not a liar. I'm not a hoe. No one slept with me. I don't give it out like that. So this is not like they did their vetting. first. They didn't just
Exactly.
say, "Oh, well, I'll just wait for just any girl, and who cares what she says or strings me along." And a lot of times we saw each other like every single day, all the time. So, like, I mean, honestly, like, I'm a very invested person from day one, so I'm investing in every other way. Like, I'm the type that will come over to your house for the first time and end up doing your laundry and cleaning the floors and stuff, right? I'm very much like that.
Oh no! Is
And you
that
make sandwiches too, right?
Oh,
is that?
I cook like a wizard.
Oh
I
no,
cook
no, that's
on the
different.
first day.
That's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I didn't
I
know that
said
that's
you're
how you
rare.
but
Okay, so we're gonna get to the next super chat and then we will have Blue. So thanks
Really quick.
again, Celine. She says, I was one of the good girls who did all of the right things, but still got overlooked by my first crush, who I thought was a good guy.
Aw, poor
Oh,
Brittany.
well, I mean,
poor baby.
not all quote unquote good guys and good girls are compatible with each other, and there's nothing gooder about a girl than her vagina. So
All right.
yeah,
Dean
Celine,
teacher, real
like,
quick. I
Well,
just want
Grogu
to.
was raised by a daddy, and I think her daddy's a pastor or something. Just
no,
want to
I
add
know that
that
she's
in. She did
religious.
have a father. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that she's religious, but I'm just saying, like, she's young too, meaning that this guy
Yeah.
was young too. And if you match good and celibate with good and freaky is gonna win. I don't care if you're dealing if your good guy is dealing with is a preacher kid also.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Thank you, ladies, for having me on. My husband's on the way home. I gotta make sure he got dinner. I'll see you guys
Aw,
next
Okay.
time.
oh, thanks for coming. See, she's a good woman. Thank you
Yes,
for
I like
coming.
you, Jasmine. Come back anytime. Anytime.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
Take care, Jasmine.
bye. Okay, so let's get to Blue TV. Blue, what's on your mind?
Well, I just weighed in like 15 minutes ago, but y'all got some good talking points. Um, it's a lot of it's a lot of bad not bad guys, but yeah, bad guys. I forgot who was saying it, but some guys do that. They manipulate girls, and they fall for it, have sex, and then now they're a bad girl.
True. So you're saying they turn in good girls bad, but once a bad girl's gone bad. Wait, once a bad girl's
Once a
gone
good girl's gone bad, she's
bad,
gone
she's gone
forever.
forever. Right. Exactly. That's true.
I mean, well, no, I don't think she's gone forever. I think she's gone until that's where you start getting these narratives from women who say basically like a man has to come and he's got to earn my trust and my vulnerability and my submission and my belief in any of that again, right? Because
Hmm.
she probably started there, got burned and devastated, and yeah, now it's basically gone unless someone works really hard, like it's a movie, like it's a romantic movie, to try to get her back and to prove indelibly, right, that he's really not going to, burn her again. And I think that's where a lot of those types of narratives come from, are from those girls that they started off decent. It might have been young, but they started off decent. And then they got stepped on one too many times in one too many bad ways with one too many bad consequences. So I agree with that.
Right. So yeah, good point though, Blue. You have anything else on that?
No, I got a question for y'all. How long you think a female when should a female have sex, as growing up? What do you guys think is a good age that she should actually start having sex with someone?
I don't think there's an age. If she's in a relationship with a guy, um, then go for it. I mean, if it's a young woman in a relationship with a young man and they've been together for a while and they're married, why not?
Well,
You know?
okay. That's a
Married
good
or
question.
25, whichever comes first.
Um,
Right.
no, so Blue, I think that it should start for them with boys their own age, between
Hmm.
12 and 14. For all
Oh,
other women, it is very important that a guy sows his wild oats on other women before meeting up with my daughter. So
Wait, hold up. Wait, you saying that if you had a son, he should have sex with other women before he actually chooses his wife, if I'm correct? That's what you're
yes,
saying?
that's
Okay.
not correct. So, and that can only be the case if other women are promiscuous. That can only be that. But however, the wife is different. You see, there has to be a healthy societal balance between Madonnas and whores. There has to be. in order to create happy marriages. Happy marriages comes when guys are no longer curious about what's out there. It's very difficult for a guy to settle down to a good woman when he's still curious about what's out there. So he has to sow a little bit. Now, I don't want my daughter to be one of those chicks, but I do understand that the other chicks has to give it up so my daughter don't have to. That's my stance on that.
And the
Mhm.
only reason why I had asked because I was speaking to my sister today, and she was just talking about one of her cousins that's 13. She's out there having sex and such, and then it led to her telling me that she didn't have sex till she was 21. Now, I didn't know that, so I was like, oh, that's crazy. But she at this point, she has 3 kids and 3 different baby fathers. But she take
Mm.
care of her kids, and her kids are doing good in school. She's a single mom, and I was the conversation y'all was talking about, and I was just thinking like, you know, is is that is that a scenario that happened to her? You know what I mean? Meeting one guy and a guy telling her one thing, and you know what I mean? It didn't work out, and she probably went to the next guy. She believed in him, and you know what I'm saying? Didn't work out. Went to the next guy, believed in him. Now
Well,
you just like, all right, well,
yeah, because your sister's a good girl, right?
yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
she I know your sister personally. She's a sweet girl, but um people make mistakes, but my advice to your sister would be she should have waited till she was married before she started
I
having
agree.
kids. But things happen. I
But then
mean,
see, not to cut you off, but see, we don't know what the first man was telling her. He probably was telling her these things. Yeah, but again, that's why I say it goes into what a guy is telling you.
so you're saying it's the guy's fault. It's not the woman's fault. That's what
No, it's both, but majority the woman because you're the one that's opening your legs and you're letting this guy do. You're not using protection. So I would really have to put that on the female. I would have to say.
I agree with that.
Another old
100%.
Definitely
saying,
would.
I feel
another
like, you know
100%.
what?
old
Listen,
saying, what's that? Shame on you, something like that. Shame on me, or damn,
Oh, shame on you once something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Fool
yeah,
me
yeah.
once, fool
Fool
me
me
once, some
once,
shit like that.
shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
So
the
Yeah.
whole
so she
thing.
get
Like,
she get
especially
one
having,
shame.
like,
And she did it.
technically, if you're gonna have multiple baby daddies like that, they should be even in marriage till till at least something happens. Like Zara Ali, I think she been married multiple times, but
But
the guy
who
she
who
married
you said?
to was till
Who you
death.
said? Mel, who you said?
Zara Ali,
No,
Who's that?
you
the
know who
one who
that
wrote the
is.
famous book. Oh damn, talk about her lot. Um, um,
Not the one that was talking with Professor
no,
Gris.
no, was he?
The
Oh,
Guide to
Yes.
Understanding the
Yeah, she
Black
was.
Woman.
Wasn't she?
I don't know about that.
The
Yeah,
Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black
yeah, yeah. The Black Man's Guy
Woman.
from the 90s and 80s.
It's 1989 it was published.
Yeah, MTR did an interview with her also, like in recent years.
Yeah, Blue. But to answer your question, yeah, that lady, she did do
Yeah,
an interview with him.
yeah. I mean, she married to multiple guys, but they wasn't married till the guy passed away and stuff like that. That's sort of different. I remember Lou look at women differently because it's in the confines of a marriage. But if it's out of wedlock so much and everything, you're gonna look at you different. Like, okay, you didn't at least get the second guy to marry you, at least like the first time, like they know not wanting the marriage. So we're gonna look at women kind of funny when they're having babies out of wedlock so much.
All right.
well, I think a lot of women, unfortunately, they're not using their common sense, right? So I used my common sense when it came to life. I'm allergic to latex. I don't want to have children out of wedlock, right? So that means I have to be on other options, for example, birth control. And I mean, because back in my day, and I'm aging myself a little bit, they did not have polyurethane condoms out the wazoo like that. You got to go downtown Toronto to this one store that sold lambskin condoms, which are only like 40% effective against protecting against anything. It's ridiculous. But nowadays you got the latex and the non-latex options. Yes, the non-latex ones are more expensive, but hey, you don't want to be on birth control, then that's the other option. Otherwise, don't have sex. Because if right, that you see termination as murder, right? If you know that that's what you think, ladies, in your head, that's how you feel about it, right? Then why are you having unprotected sex outside of marriage? Why are you leaving it up to anybody else to make sure that you don't get pregnant, right? Because this is the thing. I'm sorry, but I know and have actually experienced myself scandalous things where a guy should know better. I was on antibiotics once. I was on a really heavy course for pneumonia, right? And finally, my boyfriend gets to sleep with me, and he pulled off the condom because he knew that the birth control pill doesn't work if you're on antibiotics, right? So he knew that I needed a month to get that out of my system. And yet, you know what he did? He pulled off the condom when I wasn't paying attention, right? And then accidentally came halfway inside of me because he was trying to pull out because, oops, he forgot he took. It's like this whole thing that happens. But why are you leaving it in someone else's hands? Because I didn't leave it in his hands, right? I was feeling myself. I was like, what is this? I was at the pharmacy that same night getting Plan B. Are you kidding? Right? So it's because I don't want to go through termination. I'm pro-choice, but I'm just saying for me, it's not a great choice. So hey, you got to be in control of your own reproductive health and your own reproductive rights, right? So on one side, I do fault the guys for coming inside of her and barebacking these random chicks and whatever. I'm faulting them, but I'm faulting the women just as much for not protecting themselves when they know that termination is an option for them, when they know they're not ready for a child, when they know they don't want to be single mothers, right? Like, what are you doing? You got to make better decisions for yourself. That's ultimately what it comes down to. You have to.
Okay. Let me get in this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So first of all, you have a bunch of dumbasses in the society that doesn't practice safe sex anyway. Women make bad decisions by choice. They usually do. And men of the society is picking up the same slack that these women are doing, so they ended up not being responsible as well. I mean, how much of a dumbass could you be if you know damn well that if you sit up there and skeet a woman, she's gonna get pregnant? Would you think babies come out of thin air? They get dropped out of the sky by birds? They don't. And the thing about it is that most of these dudes that get these women pregnant, and believe me, I've been in sexual intercourse with women, and they sit up there and say, "Take off the condom because it feels better." I said, "Are you nuts? I don't want to."
Ew.
Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
nuts? I'm like, I'm not
Okay,
doing
that's
that.
nasty.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, just don't wear the condom." Da, da, da. Yeah, it's stupid. Anyway, look, listen. I want to go back to the point we was talking about a little bit earlier, really quickly. The problem with dudes in the space, right, is that now what they're doing is you have a bunch of fanatics, you have a bunch of dudes out there that's not really making content to enrich the soul of these young so-called black men. What I see every day is gossiping, and especially these fanboys that like Jessica X, for example, and then like Danica Marie and like that chick Melanie King now. It's embarrassing, man. All these dudes is making content on that woman every single day and talking about, oh, well, did she get doxxed and this, that, and third? They're paying attention to looks because they like the fact of the matter that they could see an attractive woman on there and they could be able to conversate with her and get all mesmerized by hearing a nice ass voice. You understand? Like this is ASMR. Even breaking down to the point what pisses me off with a lot of these dudes, how y'all spitting game and knowledge and you keep giving these stupid ass divestors attentions. Like for real, like what is wrong with y'all? Y'all out here giving these dumb ass divested pink pills and that crap of a lady Sinji credit for what? If they talk in my world, you're dead to me. If you're speaking, I have nothing to say to you. If your whole entire talking point is in words ain't ish, then you mean nothing to me. If you talk about protection, I'm not gonna protect you for nothing. I will gladly tell you you can play in traffic and you can get hit by a car or a gasoline truck. No
Ew.
gas. You feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of these dudes need to have goddamn it cojones. It doesn't make any sense. Brothers out here really doing this content and dudes is getting into conversation about subscriber supremacy. How many subscribers do you have? Does it matter? What are you teaching to the public? You understand? That's the whole entire point right there. Especially when we teach these young men, when there's these brothers out here who's deleting themselves out of society, my brothers ain't talking about that. Mental treatments and send up there getting these brothers on the right course so that they could be prepared mentally, then financially, then being able to go ahead and move into a family so that they can also understand the laws and the statutes of the land to protect themselves in case they deal with a woman who's willy-nilly and decides to say, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. I want to ride on the sea carousel with another guy that I saw at my job, or this, that, and the third. I want that child support. Then you know what to do. But the brothers out here don't understand that, and especially dudes in space. That's why I tell people all the time, I'm just around, man. You come around when you want to hear some good stuff and some stuff that's gonna be helpful. That's what dudes should be on.
Interesting. No, you made some good points. I mean, I don't want to sit here and like I feel bad saying men are being simps, because I don't like calling men simps, but that's exactly what I'm seeing.
Mm.
I mean,
I
do
think
you
people.
agree?
Yeah, I don't know if I wouldn't say. I think that people are lacking in personal accountability and responsibility and like critical thinking skills. And
Mhm.
when you just put that all together and then you apply it to the individuals, let's say who are all under 40,
Mhm.
just depending on their personality and disposition, it depends on what you're going to get, right? Like the ones who are running around and everywhere you see them, they are so against single moms, so against single moms. Meanwhile, they've made 4 single mothers and they still refuse to wear condoms, right? But they'll say it. They say all of these things and they own it proudly, right? Or the same thing with women who say that they deserve a high value man, right? And they've known this their whole lives because they've been a princess their whole lives, but they have 3 children from dudes who have never had a job, right? Not even selling drugs on the corner. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to you have all these people who, well, I'm blaming him, right? Because that's what she'll do. She'll say, I'm blaming him. Why won't he go get a job after I got pregnant and become the high value man I want him to be, right? For the guy saying, well, why wouldn't she just take plan B? Right? Like, I mean, at the end, why wasn't she just on the pill? Like, no one really wants the full accountability, responsibility, and the critical thinking skills. They want everyone else to safeguard them. And so when we have these issues in society, like, I think it's very fair to point at both sides and to say, y'all are screwing up. What are you doing? Because you don't even have to go back as far as, say, the 50s or whatever for us to see a little bit more accountability, a little bit more responsibility, and a little bit better critical thinking skills. And, that's why so many problems are so wildly out of control these days.
Right. Let me just read the super chat really quick. Alka Balin 69. Thank you so much. He says,
Thank
question
you.
about the good girl doing everything right, but still got curved. What was your age during that time?
Teens and 20s. You're talking to me. So,
Talking
teens
to
and
you?
20s. Well, because you said the good girl doing everything right, but still got curved. What was my age? I'm guessing you're talking to me because I
Yeah.
told that story. So I'm going to say, it happened more than once, to be fair. I got played more than once in my dating history. Yeah, so my teens and my 20s, early 20s,
So
obviously.
you were very
But
young at the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I have Demetrius. Hi, Demetrius. Thanks for coming.
Hey,
Hey, I don't show up much on panels. But with this particular topic, I don't know, like the past few months I've been wondering to myself, not necessarily am I on the right side, but do I make sense when I speak?
Mhm.
Because this is not the first time that I'm speaking on something like this. The
Mhm.
manosphere, just the general population, not necessarily the content creators, but definitely the general population of these people who be in these chat rooms. What they do is they create a stagnating atmosphere.
Mm.
And I think that there is talent here, but what they need to do, the people in the chat room, particularly men, yeah, they need to quit talking about women all day. They know what they need to do. I think it's just a matter of them developing the willpower to do so and honing their discipline.
Right.
Hey, I agree with you because this subject did not. It was about MTR. Why did he leave? What's going on with the Manosphere that's running off good content creators like MTR, right? And somehow we ended up again talking about women and dating. I mean, it's such a. I feel like, you know what? I think I've just heard that transition happen so much that it almost feels natural now when I do it. Like I used to get frustrated when it would happen, but now I'm just like it just feels like a natural progression. That's
We
what you're
all
gonna
do it,
do.
Ruby.
Can I
That's the
ask a
thing.
question
Look
to
what we
y'all?
did now. Yeah, go ahead.
So how long have y'all been here? Because I've only been here since 2022, 2020.
Same.
Oh,
That spring. So I've been here about 2 years, and I'm already like, some of this stuff is I'm just over it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I came here around the beginning of 2021, so almost 2 years. How about you, Ruby?
Pushing 7 years. I've been
Damn.
here.
She's the OG of the space. OG.
People been here longer
I've
than
been
me,
watching.
but
I've been watching the content for the last 10 years and stuff.
yep.
Oh,
See,
damn. No, Mel. Wow.
Yeah.
people been here longer than me.
Mhm.
But I do see a
Yeah.
different shift change. Dimitri's definitely making a point right now. There's too many pair bonding ideologies that started clashing and everything. The actual real meaning of red pill, blue pill got so diluted so much. Is like it takes away from the original definition, just like the word simp and everything.
Yeah.
It's like
And
it's crazy.
I
Now
made
you
go
want
go
in a
ahead, bro. Go
marriage,
ahead, bro.
or treating your woman with respect that she earned makes you a simp. Like, come on,
Hmm.
man. That made no sense.
Yeah, that
So,
don't
Right.
make any sense. But I said this earlier in the chat, but it seems like a lot of the old heads, I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of the old heads, they know what they need to do and they say it, but it's like they fail to actually carry through. And it's
Mhm.
the younger people who are under like 30 or 35 who are like on ground zero for what these people are talking about, who have to make sense of it, and they tend to be wiser for it. It's
Okay.
weird because they can admit to some of the points that the guys talk about, but it's like they're I guess they're some of their points are outdated. You hear me?
Right.
Hmm.
no, I feel you definitely.
Well, I
Yeah,
agree. I will
because
say
I'm
this.
Gen Z and I can admit some of the things that they talk about here, but being out here, I mean, I have a girl now, but being out here and experiencing it and observing this stuff for myself, it's I can say like confidently that it's not all bad. But
Mhm.
you really have to keep in mind what you intake.
Hmm. Um, I agree with you. I'm going to say this though. What we have to realize is this space it tends to bring in either young or just generally inexperienced people, right? And it brings in people who have been burned. That's what it generally tends to bring in. So you've got the people who come in normally in some type of red pill rage stage, right? And then you've got a lot of youngins, right? Like Zeno, when I first met Zeno, my cousin in the chat there, right? When I first met him, he was young. A lot of people that I first met 5, 6 years ago, they were either in their teens or very early 20s. There were really young guys coming in and they wanted the guidance and the knowledge, and really because they didn't have either the experience or because you know what, they were just starting out and they were scared because they started hearing all these horror stories. They wanted the experience to be able to avoid the horror stories as they got older, and stuff like that. And so I think it depends on why did you come here, right? To begin with, I think a lot of the younger people came here understanding that there's some issue in society. Society has changed dramatically. I think in a way, kind of like, this online dating and all that has really forced people to be able to notice it though. But anyway, they knew that there was an issue. And so they came into the space saying, okay, before I get screwed over, teach me. So that way I don't get screwed over. And so in a way, they're helped a lot more by no matter what they hear, because it's not like they have to try to retroactively go back and clean up their lives or fix their mistakes. But then you have the older guys who came in and they came in red pill rage after they've already made all those mistakes. After they've already been entirely screwed over, they're fighting the court systems. They already have 5 kids out of wedlock to 3 horrible women, whatever it is, right? And so I think that they're going to have a lot of horror stories and they're going to have a lot of theories about what they maybe could have done better, but they can't really teach you something that they don't know. And so I think
Mhm.
either way, it kind of leaves a hole. And I think that there are some creators who are coming in to fill the hole, like MTR, who has now gotten frustrated with the dynamics of, I'm going to say, the creators, probably especially in the Manosphere, given what he said, and walk away from it. And there's other guys who, you know what, they didn't make those mistakes. They're still relatively young guys. They didn't make those mistakes, or they got married. They, they're very successful financially. They can show you how to get what you want. But you know what? They come into the space, and for a variety of reasons, they end up walking away from it.
Nah,
Right.
that's a
Stacking.
fact. Yeah, I mean, I remember when Alan Roger Curry made a video 4 years ago, how he denounced the manosphere because Wikipedia had a meaning about the manosphere, and probably pissed a lot of guys off because how the media now perceive us like misogynistic type of dudes and everything. It's not what it's about, but that's how the media perceive us. And he was like, I can't associate myself like that because that's not what I'm about. And stuff.
Mhm.
He still puts, and there's a lot of other dating coaches, financial gurus, and everything. They still focus on their mission. Angry Man focus on his mission. Everybody focus on their mission, but they still see the dysfunction was going to Manosphere like crazy and stuff. It's like, yeah, like they call out guys also too. Like, I mean, it's all right that we call out the women, but you got to call out some of these guys also too. And I feel the same way. Like we present all these stats and everything, and I do see this a lot. You know
Right.
what
So
I'm saying? With
let's
the
get
old guys,
to
we provide like the stats and data and everything, but it's not just because it's a large percentage that might not be in your favor. We
mhm.
present the way that focus on a small percentage. How did that small percentage become successful? Focus on that. People
Right.
focus on that small percentage so they can learn from. They want to focus on a large percentage and give up. I can't accept that. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy how the space is running. But let's get to Young East. Hi, Young East.
Oh, hey, youngies.
Mm,
Hey,
mm,
what's that?
Come on.
mm.
Uh-oh, what's going on?
No, no. Um, no, all this is good. Your topic is hilarious. It's hilarious. So the light skinned guy, right? MTR, he has a
Mhm,
problem with the black manosphere. The crazy thing
mhm,
is light skinned dudes usually skate in the hood. They usually have no problems. And this guy in particular, this MTR guy, this guy's a stand-up guy. I mean, he came out and admitted he had cancer. You know what I'm saying? Just to, I guess,
Yes,
bring
sir.
awareness to it. This is a stand-up dude. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's the epitome of what the manosphere embodies. A whole bunch of educated. I think he got a master's degree. He's a high value man, and he has
Mm-hmm.
to step away from the manosphere. Is absolutely hilarious. This is funny to me. It's funny to me because the thing is with the red pill, they only apply it to women. They don't apply it to men. Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
you really red pill aware, quote unquote, then you notice that most people ain't shit. I don't know why we just focus on black women. Why what, hey, you know what I mean? It's a gender bias thing, apparently. Okay, and the manosphere end up getting as bitter as this sisterhood. And I've been saying this from day one. That's why a lot of manosphere dudes don't like me. Because I've been like, yo, the whole community is messed up. It ain't just the women. The whole community's messed up. Y'all want to hyper focus on the women. I get it because they've been bashing dudes too. So of course I'm gonna definitely let it ride. But let's not take away from the point that the whole thing need to be fixed. The whole thing need to be built up. Okay, there's no need to really point the finger when we all got roaches in our house. You feel me? So this MTR situation, this guy even brought on Shahrazad Ali. She even went to his show. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's an OG when it comes to stuff like this. She even went to his show. Okay, and this guy,
mhm.
what he do? What MTR do? He take all the money, all the donation from the ministry. Now he leaving, right? He'll be back though, just like Ramil.
No, but you know what though? Here's
Let,
what I think
let me
about MTR, because I don't know if you heard earlier what I said, right? So I know who MTR is outside of the Manosphere. As in, I mean, not like I've met the man, as in I know what he was doing before he got to the Manosphere. It, coincidentally, because I had been interested in, helping Black men from before I got to the Manosphere. So I actually saw him even on the news. I actually saw him at one point. It was like a decade ago. So
Damn.
MTR was actually helping Black men, boots on the ground, way before he got to this space. Right, he was already trying to improve the lives of Black men and to teach Black men, in essence, what this space should be trying to teach Black men. I'm not even talking about dating. I'm just talking about presentation, about how you hold yourself, carry yourself, interviews, stuff like that, from like decades, like at least a decade ago, from the evidence that I know of. Right. So with that being said, he didn't come to this space like some people do. They create this persona, right? They pretend they're about something, whatever, so that way they can get really famous, get the clicks, get the money, and then call it a day as soon as times get hard. Because he was actually doing something before he got to the space. He already had that interest. This was
He's a good guy. Yeah.
All right, so
right.
check this
He
out.
really is a good guy. Yeah.
And check this out. So my thing about it is what pissed me off with a lot of brothers is the first time they see a so-called black woman speak on the behalf of so-called black men, they go along and they run with it. Not going to diss on the brother MTR about him bringing Shahrazad Ali, but that should have been a smoke screen for brothers to look around for women that was looking for the behalf of men's rights besides Shahrazad Ali. The problem with a lot of brothers is they go ahead and they just say stupid stuff out their mouth because as soon as they see other women out there speaking on behalf, these dumb idiots go over to the B1 sector and then go over to these other women that say stuff about the community and then sit up there and say, you know what, Nubian Queen, you are the Shahrazad Ali of today. How stupid do y'all sound? Y'all sound retarded. Y'all ain't even out here doing this research or knowledge to know there is more women out there in separate decades in different periods that wanted to speak on behalf of men's rights. And besides that, coach women to be better women and to be actual productive wives. You know what so-called black men do? Every chance they get, oh, that's the next Shahrazad Ali right there. That's the next Shahrazad Ali right there. So they don't do no goddamn research, no knowledge on nothing. And this is the problem with brothers, is they're not out there trying to better the push board. You brothers are supposed to be productive and smart. You understand what I'm saying? Cool. You read the book just like I read the book. I read the book too. It was a good book. You understand? This is where we come into this conversation about confirmation bias, where brothers want to be able to make the point to get the validation of those narcissistic trait of women, and then be able to say, see, because Shahrazad Ali said it in this book, so it means it's right. You understand? So at the end of the day, if brothers trying to push the news, there's a lot of different things y'all need to do. Now, there's certain content creators, I like what they say, but I'm not going to be riding with them 100%. You understand? There's going to be certain things I challenge them on, and I say, yo, y'all not correct on this. This is because of this, that, and the third. But you have a lot of dudes that sit up there and jump on a damn bandwagon, and that's where they stay at. That's why I say a lot of these dudes is repetitive. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's why they gossip and do all that nonsense.
Brownsburg.
Was it like a lot of young dudes doing this also?
There's a lot of these. I'm not going to even just the younger guys. They're not going to do it as much because I mean the most I've seen these young guys do is just dress up in suits and talk about Kevin Samuels all day. Those are whole entire cornballs. You understand? Because even when he came out with that dumbass shit about that suit content, I was sitting up there saying you don't have to wear a suit to be a productive so-called black man. The image of the so-called black man needs to be fixed in various of ways besides a damn suit. You understand? These older dudes is the one I gun at. Because these brothers out here talking about they failed ass marriages from 20, 30 years ago, and then sitting up there talking about, oh, my baby mama this and my baby mama that. You see, they don't listen. Bro, you was married in like 1988 or something like that. It's 2022. You still talking about your wife, fam? Get a grip, fam.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So these older cats out here is not pushing the needle. It makes no sense. So then they be able to get up on these panels, think that they could just go ahead and argue and all this other stuff, and then claim they a high value man. And that's the one thing, because I bet you say that dumbass high value nonsense outside, people gonna look at you crazy. Then it's gonna revert to the white man and this, that, and the third. I tell so-called black men at the end of the day, the battle is with yourself. It's not always with the so-called white man.
Facto.
Yeah.
That's very fact.
They do. People don't realize. I think this is something I've noticed over the last 6 years because it happened to me at first, where I like lost touch with the fact that this internet space is not reality. Like, as in, just because it's a truth here or a well-known fact here does not mean that that carries forward into reality, right? And so people think that the things that they know, or the terms that they know, right, even like 304, or I don't know, all those just different terms you have, even like a CISBM, even these movements, right? People don't know these words. They don't know the terms. They don't know the movement. I have an ex, okay, but he's like a really good friend now. And actually, right now he's in Brazil, doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he is always pretty much he's dated a couple, maybe a few black women in his life, light-skinned, beautiful ones, but generally he's always dated out. No, seriously, he's always dated out. He's not really into black
Oh,
women,
shit.
right? That's his experience with his mom and his sisters and their scraggle daggle selves. But that's how he sees all black women, period, right? So he doesn't date black women. So you would think he would know everything about CISBM. But when I told him about the movement, he's like, "What does that say?" I said, "It stands for Save Yourselves, Black Man." Right? And he just started laughing hysterically, and he could barely get the words out to ask, "Save yourself from what?" Like he could barely even like get it out, right? And so we don't realize sometimes that it's like, oh, it makes such perfect logical sense to us, or it seems so much like this is all reality, all this internet stuff we talk about, and all these worst case scenarios we bring up all the time, or all these extreme examples we bring up all the time. Oh, that's just reality. But if you go to the people in reality and ask them, a lot of them have no idea what the hell we're talking about at all. And a lot of them will also think that it sounds absolutely asinine, right? And I'm talking about high value men who would qualify, right? They make $500,000 a year, right? They've been making at least over 100,000 for over a decade, right? Gorgeous young wife, so on and so amazing, highly successful, very influential, all these great things. But if you told them about high value men and how we high value men now, they will laugh at you. They will laugh at you. They will laugh you out the door. That sounds just clownery to them, right? So it's like, I don't think that we're spending enough time teaching to the younger people coming in, like, okay, I'm trying to teach you something. Here's some concepts you need to learn about life. But these are concepts, but like, don't think that that's just like, oh, when you go out there, just use these terms that everyone will understand, because
Here's
no.
the problem right now going on. A lot of these young guys and everything, especially the ones in their younger 20s. I've seen this on one of the peep shows and everything. I know that he was debating with Kevin Samuels and everything, but he felt some way about his manhood and everything. Like, I'm a man because I pay my own bills, I buy my own, blah blah blah. And a lot of old guys, us is older than him, we're not gonna look at him as a man because that's not what manhood is and stuff. You're doing the responsibility level that a man, woman, young, old could do. Being a man, that takes time and experience, and there's certain other attributes that gotta be added to that also too. And that's the problem. A lot of these young dudes be thinking they're young, they're a man over something the same level as someone that's 10, 20 years older than them, and it's like, no, that takes time. Know your place a little bit. Sometimes there's reason why, like, every 10 years a man changes. I told him I was like that, arguing with people. When I was in my younger 20s, arguing with people thinking I know it all. Then I had to calm down with that. Sometimes I had to take it and watch it. Now I'm in my 40s, like, you know what? Now I get it and stuff, because I'm trying to teach some of the youngins about myself. And it's like sometimes you got to be cool, calm, and collected as much as possible. As much as you want to speak up, as much as you can. Sometimes sit back and just take it, absorb more and stuff. And as you get older, you start to see why and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the old men on in the manosphere is men. I don't.
And
I
that
think
too, definitely.
so. I don't know if it comes with age. I think you're trying to make that. I think you're trying to make that. But I don't. I don't think
No,
it comes
no,
with
no,
age.
it's not just age, it's time and wisdom and experience. Now you're all
Yes,
right. Not
that
all
don't.
older men are
That
wise
don't.
and experience. Like they said, old fools with young fools and stuff like that.
Right, right. That yeah, it doesn't always come with time. Wisdom don't come with time. It don't come with age. Some people just got arrested development. They just not gonna grow. They always gonna be immature.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was like, you could try and I guess knock his manhood because he said he paid his bills. I don't know if I would venture that way because you're measuring it based on something he's not measuring it on, and a lot of dudes in this space they're very immature. You know what I'm saying? So you can't use that against that guy that was talking on that Lapeef network.
No,
If
but
I
like
could say
but like
something
I said,
about the
yeah.
whole, if I could just quickly say something about becoming man, just because MTR actually said it on his channel at some point. Um, and so what he said was basically, and I know other people have said it too, but I'm referring to the MTR video because I remember it still. And so basically what he said is that a lot of young boys and young men are basically conditioned into the society to believe that becoming a man is equivalent. It's the same thing as becoming a husband and a provider for that wife and child or children. And so if you haven't reached that, or if you haven't become that, then you're not a man. And so even though that's obviously there's no equivalence there, right? You could become a husband and a father and a provider and not be a man, and you could become a man without becoming any of those things, right? And so a lot of young boys and men are now growing up into these young men who know that that's not true, right? But they don't know how to then self-actualize and become men because they were conditioned with this wrong thought process. But then now that they know they have to break that, right, break the blue pill, shall we say, they have no idea how to get from where they are now, which is, kind of like the broken pieces, to the place where, okay, they actually feel like men internally. And so they're always kind of fighting, I think, on the surface to try to get the surface acquisition of things that they think mean manhood. And this is where all this fake proof of being a high value man, just trying to, pretend that all the terms apply to you. Right. When buy yourself a suit because, Kevin Samuels says, right. Like it's like they don't know what else to do. They don't understand I think that they do subconsciously know that it is like something internal, but they just don't know how to develop it. And they have no idea where to go to get that information. And a lot of them, unfortunately, don't have positive male role models, right? Or they have male role models who are just as lost as they are.
But yeah, also too, yeah. I mean, I talk about this scene a lot from the Game of Thrones. Joffrey and I think the top of the T. But this is a young boy. He was thinking he was a king and everything because he's doing all that fear base and stuff like that. And his grandfather was there at a meeting with him, and he told him like, he kept saying, "I'm a king, I'm a king." And his grandfather had to tell him, "Those who call themselves a king ain't no true king," and stuff. And he going and the king, his grandson, that's the king, going on a rant. It's a powerful scene, though. Trust me, it's a powerful scene, though. But he's going on a rant and everything. The grandfather looked at him and was like, send this boy to his room by his supper and stuff. Fix him his drink so he could go to sleep easy. And his wife was, I think that was his aunt level too. I mean, they got incest shit going on in that show. But yeah, he sent him to bed and stuff. And he was like, "I'm not tired." He's like, "Go to bed." So that little midget dude looked at him and was like, "You just sent the most powerful man to bed without his dinner, right?" He looked at him. He was like, "You think the crown give you true power? You think he's the most powerful man in the kingdom?" But he's like, "He's the king." He's like, "Yo, just because you wear a crown doesn't make you a king and stuff." And that sort of emphasized manhood in a way, yeah, because there's another when that king died and his brother had to take over. So he had to school the brother and everything. It's like one thing, true kings and good kings, it's saying what makes a good king and his wisdom and stuff. And he had to learn. He told him, you have to learn from a true king learns from his wise men around him and stuff until he becomes of age to take over and stuff. It comes with patience and wisdom. You learn from others and be patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of a lot of shit.
Hmm?
It's a combination of a lot of shit.
That's part of it though. Yeah, that's the main part.
Is what I'm saying? It's just not one thing. Like you said, that guy. Oh, I pay my bills. Yeah.
Yeah, he's emphasizing what he was doing, and I had to listen. I was like, that's no different from what a woman does and someone older than him. That doesn't make you a man. Like I said, someone that's older than him is not going to look at him in a man that way because you're no different from a man or woman and stuff. For him to respond that way, they already see you. You're not a man in that way. Like, a true man would be patient. Sometimes you have to take it. Yeah, like I said, he was 23 years old, and I said I sound like that also too. Every 10 years I change. So when I got in my 40s, I now see it from their perspective because now I'm the one giving that wisdom. Now I'm more wise myself and stuff.
Right. Right. Hold on,
But
I just want to address the
well,
question that Snuggles asked just because it's related to the title of the stream. And so Snuggles asked, who do you people consider fakes? Snuggles writes in
Never.
such a way that I don't know whether I want to like laugh, be offended, or answer. I don't know. But anyway,
Trying to find out
um,
as a man or woman.
you people,
Snuggles need to hop
right,
up on
it's
his panel and stop
She
playing
is a
you
around, man.
people.
woman.
Snuggles need to hop up on his
Snuggles,
panel, always talking about send out the link, but never come up on his panel. Who are
never,
Yeah,
you?
never.
every single
Snuggles,
stream she
you do
does
this
that.
all the
Right.
time,
That's a
fam.
she.
Or is that a she?
I
Hmm.
don't
It's
know.
a
That's an
I
woman.
don't
angel. I
know.
don't know who Snuggles is, man. Yo,
Snuggles never actually answers that
You're
question.
a
But okay,
CGI.
But Nom said she was a woman.
okay,
I don't
let
know
me
how
Might be a
he
answer the
knew.
Russian
question.
bot. I don't
I
know.
think I think people think that Snuggles is a woman based on the name Snuggles,
I
but
want to know
also
too, though. Who's the
certain
fake?
words.
Who's the
Um,
fake?
okay, so this is my answer because I don't have an answer because we played MTR's I'm leaving the
He was
Manosphere
too
video
vague.
earlier. Way too vague. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. He's too vague and too classy and too stoic to ever directly call people out. But this
Mm.
is what I
And too
got
light
reading.
skinned.
This is what I got reading between the lines. Okay, he's been in this space. He was an observer, an audience member in this space, right, for a while before he started his own channel. Okay, he supported other content creators both as an audience member, but
He
also
did.
just coming up. He supported other content creators. His channel started getting bigger, right, and he started getting a little bit of attention from other
Mm-hmm.
bigger content creators, so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. Right now, then a couple things happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after cancer, he had this great comeback. He had the documentary he dropped. He gets this collab with Kevin. Everything should be good. But then, these people turn on him, all these people with the whole canceling him thing and getting a real life contract that really affects his real life business canceled, smearing his name, so on and so
He
forth.
was betrayed. Somebody
Yeah, and that's
betrayed
what I
him.
think. I think ultimately it comes down to it has something to do with that scenario and that situation.
Yeah.
And some of the people he supported that he thought were day ones, that he thought were more than just acquaintances or whatever, based on how he saw them and how he treated
Right.
them. They didn't
Right.
reciprocate in his time of need. And he realized if those are the heads of the manosphere, then this is kind of like,
Yeah.
this is dirty from the top down. And, that dirt
He
always
was
trickles down where
betrayed.
and so he's walking away. That's what I think. So I
Yeah,
think the
but why?
fakes are those people.
Why would he
That's what
like? Why would he blanket judge the whole manosphere? There had to have been a segment of dudes that was with him that turned on him because he wouldn't have
Because
just
he's
left.
talking in vague.
Say that
I
again.
think there are big names. I think we all know that while there's a lot of channels and way more audience members that constitute the manosphere, that there are certain leading key names, and I think it has to be at least one, if not
Oh,
more, of those
oh,
names.
Any one of
It's got
these
to be.
cornballs that sit up there D-riding Kevin Samuels.
Huh?
That's a
What?
fake. Any one of these any one of these cornballs that
Bird.
say, "Nah, I don't care, son." It's mad corny. Like every day. But because I'm like, this dude don't even claim y'all, and you out here talking about, oh yeah, well because we as men, no, fam. Listen, at the end of the day, I know your temperature, fam. You a fake. You feel what I'm saying?
fact.
You out here talking about this is the betterment of men, but you only doing that because you hearing other panels of other panels making a panel and making content off that panel. Why you got a lot of these dudes out here claiming they manosphere and they ain't never put in no work? They ain't never been in those panels. They ain't never sit up there and have those conversations with those people out there. You understand?
Wait,
They
he
wasn't
just answered
here.
the question, Ruby. I guess
Hmm?
you have to put in work to be part of the
They
manosphere,
ain't
right?
put in
Be
no
on
work.
panels.
But it also
Okay.
depends what
Yeah,
type of
for a
work. I
content
mean,
creator.
they
Yeah,
have
there
No,
you go.
no. Dudes out here is just sitting up there talking about red pill because they're trying to get the validation of women. More specifically, these so-called black men is trying to get the validation of Keisha. I keep saying that all the time. A lot of these brothers want to get the
Facts.
validation of Keisha. I told y'all once
Facts.
and I tell y'all again. Well, how Keisha looks to me, she gets smashed. I'm not wifing that chick. I don't want Keisha. And at the most, if that's the chick that's wearing a 30-inch weave, get the hell away from me. You understand? I don't want nothing to
Mm.
do with you. If you got OnlyFans, you got that weave going all the way down your ass. I have nothing to say
Mm.
to you, yo.
That's a true story. And you know what? When the conversation was different in this space, because it used to be different at one point. And so a lot of what I was talking about were my defenses and beliefs based on, men's rights and how men were being done dirty or being treated unfairly in society. And so I remember multiple occasions. I'm not going to call out no content creators' names. I'm going to tell you, I was on multiple panels with men, both the content creator and the other people on the panel, who said, right, they want a feminine woman. They want a woman who believes in traditional. They want a woman who's this. They want a woman who's that, right? They want a woman. They basically described me, okay? As far as beliefs, as far as the attitudes, as far as the conversation, everything, okay? But guess who they gave all their attention to when she came up on the panel? The one who was acting ratchet as hell, who was cussing men, who hated all men, who was this, that, and the next thing. That's who they wanted. They wanted to win her over.
You can't be
and you
confused
could tell.
by that. You can't be confused by what guys lust after and what they actually want, though.
No, but
And-
what I'm saying, though, is what it comes down to is I had this conversation many times because I was confused at first, right? I'm like, well, if you want the feminine women, why not give positive attention to the feminine women and give negative or no attention, preferably no attention or less attention, to the ones that you don't like?
Both of them.
But but here's the thing. No. I'm telling you, because this was a conversation from like years ago, right? And so a couple of the male content creators, I had a bigger discussion about this. And what they said was, well, here's the thing. The guys know what's best for them. They know what they want. They know what they definitely don't want. But here's the thing. Keisha, that woman who hates all black men, well, she reminds him of every woman he's lusted after, every woman he's been in love with, his mama, his sister, whatever. She's familiar. She's comfortable. And that's why they want to convert her. They want to convert her into a you because you aren't comfortable and they don't trust you because they don't know what that is. They only know what she is.
Everybody wants to convert everybody to their beliefs. So that's one thing. But it's not necessarily she reminds them of their family. If she's attractive, dudes want to smash. Like, for instance,
exactly.
Like Cynthia G, there's mad dudes that would still smash her. And she says the most vile things about black men.
Exactly.
But mad dudes are still smashed.
But
sir, we're not talking about looks, right? Because a lot of these women who came up,
that's what it's about.
But sir, a lot of the women who came up, they didn't have profile pictures showing off them being hot. We're just talking about attitude and behavior on a panel. That's all we're talking about.
Okay, you're still kind of missing the point. Okay, if she's relatively decent, dudes want to smash.
How would he know? He can't see her.
Well, sure we're
just assuming.
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry.
No, because I'm talking about situations.
Now when it comes
that
to
were
the no
seen.
picture, it's just like the whole argument we have with
picture?
Jessica X and stuff. You don't know if that's a real.
No, Jessica X has, but she has
picture.
a picture.
She uses the same photo all the time. How is that? That's the thing that pisses me off about a lot of people. Jessica X literally uses the same picture.
She got a few of them.
So when dumbasses dox her, they sit up there and just grab someone who's named Jessica and then say, "Oh, this is Jessica X." I'm like, bro,
that doxing was
Jessica X is dead ass the same picture. Like, how can are you going catfish for 3 years? Like, it makes the jig is up if that's the case.
Right. But no. This is what I'm saying is this. First of all, because the women, it would be like having Bronzebird's avatar. So you don't know what the woman looks like, first of all. Second of all, right? We're talking, I know, but I'm saying, like, because everyone else has like a picture of something. I'm saying, like, it's just like a nondescript picture of a bird. I don't know what you look like from that picture. So I'm saying, when I'm talking about these women, I'm talking about nondescript picture. Okay, all of the wrong, like the most disrespectful views about black men, about women, about the relationships, everything, right?
She has
these
vagina.
guys, right? But here's the thing: these guys, right? I'm not talking about just young ones, old ones, married ones, single ones. I'm saying, as a general, you see it. There's the functional guy, and trust me, the functional guy does not do that. The functional guy doesn't dismiss a melody in favor of the ancient no count woman who hates all black men and invite that woman onto the next panel and forget melody, just forgot all about her, right? No, the functional man doesn't do that, right? Because the functional man is going to look at the beautiful woman, and even if you couldn't see her picture, just the one who's respectful and sweet and caring and has the right mindset, and want a melody to come on the next panel, not the one who hates black men and thinks that women rule the world.
Ruby, you just answered your question. The functional men, those men are dysfunctional, plain simple.
Because
That's
they
what I was
allow
talking
those
about.
it.
dumb
You just
ass
gotta
women
accept
to
Right.
go
that.
on the panel.
Yes.
Those are
Yeah,
dysfunctional
but
And I
dudes.
tell them all the
Yeah,
time, why
equating
do
them
y'all
to
keep
all
doing that?
men.
exactly.
She
I
equates
didn't
them to
say all
all.
men.
Well, you
No,
kind of
we
did.
know when you say
No,
No,
that.
but
she
I
But what
didn't
didn't.
I'm
really.
saying,
No, she
what
didn't,
I was
young
saying
geese.
is, you just answer your question. Functional men don't do that.
Right.
Dysfunctional men do that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but
That's what I
There's
was
no
talking
reason.
about.
Sometimes you just
Yes.
gotta accept things what it is. There's some men that it's just like
Right.
there's some men that are
yeah, but
psychopaths and some are
Mel,
not. Like
Mel,
there's
that's
no
game though.
main
See,
reason.
Game.
Functional men don't
women
lust
need
after
game.
Keisha when they're above Keisha and they're past that life, right? So again, because functional men get themselves the hell out of dysfunction and don't want to go back and definitely don't marry into
Exactly.
dysfunction. So we were talking about that specific point, and I was talking about those specific people, right? I
Yeah,
wasn't
but
talking about all men.
women have. When I said game, I mean women have to know how to vet men correctly, and you got to
What?
understand when men.
No, we
Wait
not
a
no
minute.
No, no,
Young
no,
E, we
no,
not
no,
Hold
no.
talking
I
on.
about
didn't mean.
game.
I don't mean
This
to
not a game
listen.
You better
subject.
Listen.
switch
I
that
don't mean.
around
I'm
quickly.
not trying to
Yeah,
trivialize it. I'm not trying to trivialize it. I just
He
mean that
did.
women need to know how to vet men and how to read men correctly, just like how men need to do with women, or else you're gonna either blanket judge all men and be frustrated. You understand what I'm saying? Like you got to understand when men are just being immature, when they just want to smash, or when they just looking for a wife. You got to be able to decipher between different segments of men, or else you'll end up doing what you're doing right now. It sounded like you were kind of blaming all men for what that experience. Then that's why Mel had to step in and be like, functional men. You have to
Yeah, but
make
see, the thing is,
but
so
no.
What
respectfully,
was
I
this?
was
The same
responding to,
argument
I
to
was responding to an exact point that was made about some of these dudes, right, who say they want the good girl, but really all they want is a reformed Keisha. That's all it was. I
No,
was
no,
yes,
they
responding
then
to
that's
want the
the
true.
point
good
that
That
was
is
girl.
true
made.
though.
that's true.
That is true though.
Right.
That's
I
She's
was
right.
responding to that
that's
No,
point.
no,
That's
she's
the
right,
that's
point
young
I was
geese.
responding
Right.
A
to.
lot
I'm
of
not
these dudes want to
saying
reform Keisha.
yeah,
Exactly.
some of
Right.
them, but
No,
that
ain't no some of
also
them. No,
Ain't
no,
no
no.
some.
It's
It's
not no
actually
some of them.
most.
It's
so
good
so
amount of them
so
that
we're
want to
Matter
not
of
making
reform
a
fact,
Keisha.
distinction.
this is proof right here. Go on IG, go on Twitter. All these porn stars, sex workers, IG models. There's a lot of dudes that want to wife them up and try to make them the good girl
See,
wives and
now
everything.
you're talking about simping. Now all men are
What?
simps.
But
See,
that's the whole point, though. That's
What?
just
Wait.
booty
bro, that's
booty
my
school.
point. You're making my listen. You
Hold
got to
on.
make the distinction. You can't just say that these dudes want to reform Keisha. Those might be simps you're talking about.
No,
They
that
might be sisterhood
brother
simp
man,
niggas, huh?
brother man. Let's
Yeah,
let's let's break this down, brother.
okay.
Hearing what a lot of these dudes talk about in this space, it's
Mm-hmm.
not no simping. Simping is those clowns out there that talk about red pill this and red pill that, and then you see the same clown sending out super chats talking about I want to take you out to dinner and I want to do this, that, and the third. Those are the simp dudes out there because they
Your
talk about hold on,
definition.
wait, because they talk about red pill, but then they get into quote unquote blue pill type of thinking. You understand? When we talking about men out here that sit up there talk about they want a good woman, they always want to be able to battle back and forth with the woman who made up her mind, and those are the dudes we know out there want to reform Keisha. It's not no
Okay,
simping.
thank you,
It's not
thank
no
you,
simping to me though.
so you made the distinction. So there's dudes
But you
that's
said simping
no, no,
though.
no, no. Well, I'm gonna call it that, but that's my definition because they're actually simping. They're
How they simping?
hypocrites. Well, you just explained it. They're super chatting certain chicks and they still want to reform Keisha, even though they're talking red pill talking points. So those guys are actually simps or hypocrites. You feel me? But the thing is, you made the distinction between them and guys that's not. And that's what chicks have to do. You got to make the distinction. You can't just say, you got to read into people's character. You can't just blanket judge the whole thing, or else you're going to be frustrated and you're going to write all men off. That was
Okay,
my
here's
point.
the problem though. I have said multiple times on this stream alone, no, never mind
You
every
didn't
stream
say
I've ever
all
spoken
men.
to on in my life, that men are not a monolith and neither are women. And we have to be very careful to stop making men a monolith and to stop making women a monolith because we are not monoliths. Okay. There are groups, generalized groups. Let's say maybe there's 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever different groups of women within this particular demographic, right? But what we're not is all women are this or all men are that at all, period. And what we need to also stop doing is just because someone makes a statement, period, and they're of the opposite gender, assuming that they therefore must be trying to put a blanket over all men. If I didn't say all men, if I was specifically responding to a comment that was made about some men, who are doing a particular thing. And I was saying, I've literally seen that with my own eyes. Here's when, right? Then I'm obviously not making a generalized statement about all men. It's because I'm responding to something
That's why
very
I
specific.
always say a good amount. That's why I'm careful with my words. I say good amount,
which is
or I
smart.
say
Well,
most.
the reason why
Yeah,
Mel
yeah,
said the reason why Mel said functional is because it sounded like you were blanket judging all men.
No, the
Hold on,
reason why
young
I
That's
point,
geese.
why
And
he
Mel,
said
the
functional.
one
reason why I
second, one
pointed
second,
that out
one
for
second.
her
Before
because
y'all go,
because
Mel, hold on. One
yeah,
thing. Yo, I'm tired of seeing Snuggles with all these paragraphs. I'm calling your ass out. Get on this damn panel and ask all these questions. I'm tired of you
damn
doing this.
Snuggles.
This is annoying. You too intellectual to be chatting that much, doing all this Twitter fingering. God damn it. Get on this damn panel. Hit the link.
That's a
Go ahead,
Twitter
my fault.
warrior.
Everybody gotta copy the link.
That's a
I'm
keyboard.
tired of, man. I always see Snuggles do this, man. Calling you out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on, guys. I don't mean to interrupt, but Dimitri said that I think he said he needs to leave. So, did you want to say what you need to say?
Yeah. I got morning class tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead.
So what you just referred to, and what y'all were talking about is it highlights a different problem within these spaces, and it's a form of extremism. People want to believe that things are black and white when that just isn't true. And that is why it's very important to vet these content creators that y'all listen to. Like, look around in your life, see if their talking points apply. If it does, move with it in caution. If it does not, you know it does not apply to you. With that being said, you have to be careful of this space, because with extremism comes insanity. Because the problem with extremists is they do the same thing over and over again, and they just do it more intensely every single time. Even with this whole generalization thing that y'all are just talking about, that is the stagnating atmosphere, exactly what I was referring to earlier. So if you want to set yourself apart from those people, then I'd actually encourage you to start a channel and be that voice of change. If you want to be productive, here's some places to start. I mean, we already know, like, black boys across America, they read at like an 8th grade level. Be that change, like start reading circles at the local library. Get people outside to exercise and start an exercise ring or whatever. Be that change, but don't be the people who just sit up here and just talk. Because what have come to believe about those people is they don't really want anything to do with the community. Demetrius Higashi got out.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate your opinions. I hope you come back again. Yeah. I know you don't come up too often.
I will when the time is right and when the situation is dire enough. I'll come up.
Dire enough. Okay. Hopefully we can get you up here for like semi-dire so we can get you more often. But thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, black boys reading at an 8th grade level. That's not the boys' fault. That's the school system. That's the community's fault. That's like you can't blame kids for their own abuse. You feel me? So I don't know.
No, that's
Like,
true.
yeah,
I think so. Here's the problem. So I had this discussion on Just Ask Shar. She's in the channel, y'all. In the chat, y'all can, if you want to subscribe. We have open panels on Fridays and a new show on Saturday. Now anyway, we had this discussion a little while back. Because Shar is all about solutions as well. She doesn't like to just let's just parrot narratives or just complain. No, let's talk about something, point out an issue, let's talk about the solution. And so one of the narratives that had come up was about, how, oh, there's black girl magic and there's all these things for girls, but there's nothing for boys. And so I had actually looked it up recently. I'm like, actually, there's way more things for boys than we thought that there were. Maybe when we first started talking about this 7 to 10 years ago, there was less or none, but I'm telling you that there is stuff now, but people aren't, keeping up to date with these things, right? They're just repeating parroted talking points from 10 years ago over and over and over again, because it's very easy to talk about how much of a victim you are. But here's the thing, right? A lot of men didn't sit there and just say, well, I'm just going to let my sons be victimized and my nephews and whatever. No, they got up off their asses, and I don't care. If I can't get funding, I'm going to figure out a way. I don't care if we have to go inside of someone's basement, but we're going to teach these kids, right? And they started things for boys, programming, coding, programs for boys, reading, stuff like that, right? And so here's the thing. When I brought that up and I said, okay, enough complaining now, get up off your ass and do something about it. It's like, oh, but the money, women only get money and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
I don't care if I don't get a dime. I don't care if I don't get a dime. And I haven't gotten a dime for a lot of the stuff, the work that I did do with youth and young women, right? So I did youth of both ages and young women specifically, right? I didn't get a dime for that work. But you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they're not paying me. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find sponsors. I'm going to find volunteers. I'm going to find donations, because if it's important enough to you, right, and you are willing to put in the sweat equity, the work, the time, the energy, you find some other like mine, guess what? Y'all can, you can get it done, right? Can you get a whole school system for just Black boys done for free? No. But can you start a circle in your community, right, where these boys have somewhere to go 3-4 days a week to do homework and to practice reading and to be taught something outside of playing outside in the streets because mama's got to work 3 jobs, right?
They do
like,
have
yes,
a school for so-called Black boys. They do.
Yeah, but
they do.
So-called Black boys and Latinas.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah,
know,
but
so-called Black
I
Latinas.
mean, I get that, but I just feel like, okay, yeah, black dude, they do have like a unique issue a little bit, but like I said, there's like not like white boy magic or anything for white boys. There's like not anything.
They
black
don't have to
boys.
use that. Like, that's
They don't
But
need
my
to
point
use
is,
that,
there's no. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's like as discriminatory as I think people think. You know what I'm saying? In general, men are overlooked. Period. So it isn't like they're black, so they're overlooking them because they're black or some shit like that, or just in general. I think men are just overlooked. Now, do some men need help in other areas than others? Yeah, but generally speaking, women always get more funding for whatever.
Well,
Whatever.
I'll say this. You know what? Find women that's part of your program, 100%, like the Crimson Cures, like these ladies on the panel and everything, and use them as the face to get funding for what your real mission is.
No, you don't need to do that, man.
You think
That's
they
what
gonna
people
Men
do.
need to be
Sometimes you might
strong.
have to.
No,
I know
men
we
need to
don't
be
have to, but
no,
sometimes you might
no.
have to. I mean, sometimes you got to use
Men,
your queen because she can
stop.
move multiple. It's
You
chess.
get
Like,
Mel
No,
talking shit.
no,
chess.
Good job,
no,
Mel.
I don't care. Men need
You
to
might
be
not
strong.
care, but that's how it is. Sometimes you got to play
Mel,
chess instead of checkers.
hold on, Mel. Men need to be stronger when it comes to these things. It is BS. You're gonna sit here and tell me we're gonna have to use women. I'm not saying that women don't have a sufficient value when it comes to what needs to be done. You understand? It's like the thing going to, and I'm not, this might be off the topic, but maybe on the topic. When I see hashtag Black Boy Magic, do you know that I see fluid so-called black men?
I
Did y'all
never
ever
even
notice
heard of
that?
that. Ew, that sound.
Because I don't want to say the actual
I
term.
get you.
You understand?
No, you
That
just saying
that
Black Boy Magic. Ew.
Black Boy Magic. If you go ahead and you even search
First
up the
time I heard
hashtag
that.
on
That makes sense.
Instagram, you will see fluid so-called black men.
I believe you,
And
brother.
now what they try to make the image of the so-called black man is the fluid so-called black man or gang member or degenerate. All right. So the only thing I can always advise is there's always answers where so-called black men can step up to the plate and do what they have to do. That's why I say the mentality is first. You can only get those that want to move forward. Those that don't want to move forward at the end of the day need to be left behind. I don't care. You know what I mean? And if the women want to come through and help as well, I will never deny no woman that wants to come around and help out with the so-called black man. Okay?
Yeah,
But we don't
is,
treat them with disrespect. We don't sit up there and say you're not valuable. We don't put them down.
the problem.
But
Is,
I'll just get one of the solutions. Now I agree with that solution you have also
but
too.
your solution won't work because
Actually, it will work, Young
no,
East. I've seen it happen plenty of
hold on, wait a
times.
minute.
Also,
But wait a minute.
Let him
We just
explain,
seen
Mel.
so go
we
ahead.
just seen Beyonce's mother try to do a documentary for black men,
Right.
and they're boycotting it. Black women are.
Yeah,
So
divestors. That's what I'm
it
saying.
don't matter.
Divestors.
It don't
It
matter.
does matter, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh,
I'm saying black women are okay. They're
No,
all
no, bro. Like
As
you
we're
gotta
talking about to
stop
protect
this.
the black women.
dude. I'm not talking about other races. I'm talking about black. Okay,
That's
you
what
want
I'm
to bring it
talking about.
right? I'm talking about black women. They all happen to be divestors. I got you. The point is, black women are trying to stop. I think her name Tina.
Tina
Yeah,
knows.
Tina
Tina
knows
also
from
knows.
from making that documentary. What I'm
Right.
saying is they're reading between the lines. You could put your queen in the front, and these people will still shoot it down.
Right.
You feel me? So your solution, Mal, it got to be a little bit more craftier than that.
Actually, it was crafty. You
Well,
just
but
ignored it. I
but you
said
said the solution
keyword.
right there.
Hold
Go
it,
ahead, man.
Brownsburg.
My
Hold
fault,
it.
my fault.
I said keyword. Find women that's on your program.
That is
That's
our
100%
program.
on your program.
No, it's not.
Not no 50,
How is
50,
that not?
80, but no, 100% on your program.
How is
And I
that
described
not?
some
She made
females,
it.
like I said, Crimson Curl is 100% on a man's program.
Yeah, but
That's
Tina
that's
Knowles'
one of the examples.
documentary was on
It's
program.
the,
Okay, but you just
and
you
that's
just said
that's
okay.
one of the examples. Now
Right.
Brownsburg gave another example also too, which I
I didn't
agree
hear his
with.
example. I
I'm
didn't hear
giving
his example.
different examples for solutions for us men.
And
It
let me
won't work.
respond off of Mel, because you asked a question. It's not the program, right? So when you just brought up those so-called black women that want to shut down the documentary, that already
Yes,
tells you that those are the women you need to debt. That's why I
we already
say
know
certain
that.
amount.
I
Hold
already
on,
know
wait.
that.
But you just complained, but you just said that. So what I'm saying is those women you already know. It's dead for them. We don't pay
Okay,
no
I agree
attention to
with
them.
you.
And so what if they? Because that's the thing. What you have to understand in this society as so-called black men, we have war. We public enemy number one. So
Apparently,
more than a good amount of our women don't believe in us, and that's why I say at this time that the brothers need to go ahead and reunite against themselves. Excuse me, not against, with themselves at the end of the day, and be spiritually, physically, and mentally prepared on understanding who's in your liking and who's not in your liking. That's why I say when you sat there and you mentioned those black women that wanted to say something against that documentary, that should have been a red light in your mind, sitting up there saying no so-called black women is dead to me. Anytime these
black
foolish
women.
women want to talk about protect this and protect that, you don't say nothing to them. You understand? Those
No, that's a
women,
fact.
those women are dead in the eyes. These women should be dead in your eyes. You understand me? They
Yeah,
should already be put aside because they already have a problem with so-called black men being uplifted in some type of way. And especially so-called black men that want to stand on their square and want to be able to say, we don't tolerate this here. They have a real problem with us. You understand? Too many
yeah,
times you get these brothers that's still on that damn simp program and they want to say that the black woman is God. And they want to be able to protect
yeah,
every
that
so-called
bullshit.
black women just
Yeah.
because they're so-called black. And I
Exactly.
don't agree with that. I don't do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say and to what you said earlier, brother. You make the distinction.
Yeah, the
When you
fact.
make so you make the distinction, and that's when you know those women out there that wanted to protest that is dead, is
Yeah,
gone.
I was making the distinction. They all just so happen to be black. Now, there's black women that's not for that. There's black women that's for black men, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you know, if you're trying to use a black woman to get funding for any male causes, it's still going to be a hard task because even when Serena Williams and her sister try to make a documentary to honor their father for basically teaching them how to play tennis and make all that money, you had black women, you had divestors. There's distinction. You had divestors that happen to be black women that try to stop that.
I'll
You
actually
feel?
take that back. I will agree with you on that. It would be just so-called black men. They don't have to necessarily be divestors.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
I'll respect that
But
and say
don't,
that they right.
but don't the nation Islam? That's the organization that doesn't do that. They support their black men 100%.
Because they're programmed to.
Exactly. Exactly. So you know,
They're not. You're never gonna
it,
find
Their culture. Their
yeah, they're
culture.
exactly. They're cultured, so they
Yeah.
already know what the deal is. You understand?
mhm.
But on the parades of everything, basically, a good amount of so-called black women have something against the black man because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
disappointed. We lost the war. But the problem is, brothers don't want to stop sucking the titty of these so-called black women and stop being simps for the so-called black woman.
You see, GC was talking earlier about I think he's talking to Classy Ruby. They still gonna no, it wasn't Classy, it was some other chick. They still gonna smash. Like
Jasmine.
dudes want to go overseas, maybe get a wife, but they're gonna smut out the Western women. They're gonna smash. So even though a chick is a divester, even though a chick is she doesn't like black men and she's black, there's still gonna be a dude that's gonna smash. So it's a mountain to climb.
I'm
Like
gonna
this,
keep it a buck 100%. You know, with dudes keep preaching about the overseas thing. I'm not knocking them, but that's not even gonna work for the large majority of dudes also too. Because those females are culturalized the one to be with the actual masculine man. And they can sniff out a dude's gonna simp for them hard. They ain't gonna be wiped up by
And
them.
use them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. That only works for a certain small percentage of dudes, and the dudes that actually are successful at it, they're trying to teach a lot of these dudes how to weed out the certain females and how you're supposed to act. But most of these dudes is going overseas doing the same shit they're doing over here, doing it over there and stuff, and getting got.
Well, because at the end of the day, a certain amount of these brothers, with all due respect, are desperate. They are. They have a trick pony mindset to believe that if they go over to the other lands and they get those type of women, it's all good. I've seen these dudes been finessed out of these 90-day fiancés and these ordered male brides and all this other stuff, and they say, oh yeah, because these women, it doesn't matter. The more these countries become westernized, right? The more they become westernized, the more times you're gonna get women that just act the way that they do. Okay.
Now, respectfully, if I could add something else in there,
and move.
No, give me a second. Let me just add something really quick to that, because it's not just about being westernized, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about this, mail order bride or foreign woman thing. You can get someone who's completely not westernized, but there's a couple of factors you have to look at. First of all, you have to look at the culture. And recognize a lot of these cultures, these foreign cultures, they put their men, even the bottom of their barrel men, above men from anywhere else. So in and of itself, if they are willing to date and marry outside of their culture, right, it's normally because they are bottom barrel themselves. That's the first thing. The second thing, though, has to do with, well, why? A lot of those women will pretend that they're not married, they never had any kids. Meanwhile, they have a whole husband and 4 kids at home, right? But they find there's a paycheck here, and I know that if I just give him a blowy and cook his breakfast and stuff, that he'll let me send money home to my sick mommy and whatever, right? Meanwhile, she's feeding her husband and her family at home. So I mean, there's a lot of other issues when it comes down to getting the foreign women, because a lot of them, if a lot of people who are dating and marrying foreign women, what they find out later on after the fact, right, is she was playing a game. She was playing a game, biding her time. Maybe it was for a green card. Maybe it was, to be you're draining your account to pay for something else for her actual family. Maybe she's just outrightly lying, but ultimately, most of those women, even though they're beautiful and they seem very feminine and submissive and whatever, they're bottom of the barrel in their own culture, which is why the men that they perceive as top of the line, which is the top of the line men in their culture, don't want them, right? So there are other issues that we don't necessarily talk about when we talk about that.
I'm gonna get a little pushback about with some of the passport bros and everything. When I be listening to Pablo and everything, he over glorifies it so much.
Yeah,
I give him a little pushback, a little bit, like, there's some things you're not really talking about, like, what I'm saying. It's not like I'm trying to demonize what y'all do with your wife over there. I'm not knocking that, but you can't over glorify it too much, like it's that easy and stuff. Right. We just
they're putting
the best
on
examples right there.
They're putting on a facade. They're selling you a pipe dream. And to go over to a classic Ruby saying, at the end of the day, good amount of women, and I'm talking about 90 to 95% of women are opportunists. That's in their nature. So, I mean, we can go off of, well, yeah, she'll be, sucking peen on the side while she has a whole husband and kids. But at the end of the day, if an opportunity arises for her to make more money or be able to get here and here, she will take it. That's the nature of women.
Exactly.
That's just how it is.
Another factor also, most dudes, they bring them over here. They get finessed and everything. Most of the time, they bring them over here and live in certain cities.
I want to say this.
Liberal cities definitely gonna have a heavy influence on the chicks that they gonna. You hit like me, Bronx, we live in New York and everything. Majority of us from the yard and everything, so
Yeah,
he
man.
already know. When they get over here, yeah,
Watch
now
the
I'm gonna
heights
deal
and
with someone
Bronx
else.
chicks scamming.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
understand?
Yeah, but here's the thing though, right? Because you have to look at how a woman is when we talk about a culture, a lot of times we're talking on a very big scale. But when I talk about culture, for example, right, it has to do more with like the values and belief systems that are fully ingrained and modeled for you. So a woman who, for example, is born into hardship and poverty, and basically is all but, in the sex trade at a very young age because her family needs food and whatever. Well, yeah, she probably is going to be given to BJs and whatnot on the side, no matter how many husbands, kids, whatever she has, right? But then you have women who value, right? They are cultured to value virtue and stuff like that above anything else, right? And those are women who, no matter what experiences they go through, they are never going to be out there hoeing. They're just not, right? It doesn't matter if their family needs it; they're going to find another way because they have been cultured to value their virtue, right, and their fidelity to their husband above anything else, or their relationship with God. I'm not talking about prosperity gospel. I'm talking about a real relationship, above all else, right? So it does depend on the woman and the way she was cultured and her values. And a lot of people don't really ask those questions. They just ask, oh, she's from Russia? Oh, great. Well, therefore, she's European. She's from this other. Oh, she must be great. Oh, she's from Russia. It's like, man, a lot of these, I know people, right? But I've seen a lot of documentaries too, and whatever. Looked at the stats. A lot of these people from like over there in like Russia and Chechnya and all those places, the most beautiful of the women, the ones that you would definitely covet and want to have, right? They are taught from very young ages, before they've even hit puberty, right, that they're selling sex because a lot of them are born into poverty or born into hard times, born into hardship, wanting to get the hell out of that country, right? And the most valuable thing as a woman you have in those types of countries is sex. And so they sell it, right? So if they can't become famous models and actresses and whatever, then they're prostituting, right? And then their families are trying to get them married off at 12 or 14, or basically promising them, or basically all but selling them to grown men who got a green card. And hey, listen, you can have my daughter, you can have her, right? I just need you to take her with you to Canada or to America or wherever, and make sure that she gets an education, right? And then once she's of legal age there, you can have her, right? Like people do stuff like that. We don't talk about stuff like
Of
that, and
course.
to try to recognize like
Yeah.
there's a
Of
lot more
course.
to it, you
Of
know?
course. There's a lot of people
Like I
sneaking in the
said,
country. We get it. I
women
get
are
that. But this is what
opportunists.
I want to say though. This is what I want to say though. Especially to Brownsburg, because I think you said something earlier. I mean, listen, simping is never gonna stop. Like
No, no.
tricking and simping is never gonna stop. The problem in the West is the laws protect women when the laws are more in favor of women than they should be. Okay, but women behaving the way they're behaving is not really crazy. It's really kind of like you said, opportunistic. To me, that's kind of normal. Everybody's opportunistic.
Yeah.
But if the laws sort of protect women from like you see the thing going on with Chris Brown, like the woman is really not being held accountable at all. And when people don't recognize that and they allow women scandals to just keep going and going, then you're gonna have a problem where you see when dudes simp, it's out of control. There's no checks and balances. You feel me? So men will always trick, men will always simp, women's always gonna receive that. But if the simps run the country, if the simps control the laws, then that's when you got a big problem. But women being opportunistic and hypergamous, that's whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say to everybody.
I definitely do say women by nature and opportunists. It is what it is. Men that go ahead with this whole entire simpish or tricking ideal, it can go into it. We could take it from many different angles.
Yeah.
You might have so-called incels, since we're relating this to just a space. I'm not gonna just say quote unquote manosphere that do it out of desperation. You have men, maybe the overseas dudes or just dudes here that might quote themselves as high value. They may do it as a way to up their image or to say, this is me and I can get any caliber of woman that I want. so I can go ahead and trick on a chick, and I know that I'm going to get sex out of it. You understand? So there's many ways to pull this whole entire topic, like in terms is that. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, it's the onus is more on the men, because in the art of war, you defeat a nation by going after the women and children. If the men is dealt with casualty, the man is under the supreme ruling of the ruler. So at the end of the day, the problem with a good amount of so-called black men is knowing that they are defeated. Now you have to develop a better war strategy in order to take what you rightfully deserve on this earth. I mean, I believe in the whole Aboriginal thing anyway, because, even besides before being here, like, or just being an observer, I was around in those sectors. But going back to what I'm saying, the so-called black man needs a lot of help on pulling himself out the dirt hole. And the thing about it is, when you see these lame ass women that sit up there and talk against the so-called black men, they should already be dead in your mind. The problem is, certain brothers don't know how to. Their pull-out game is not good. That's the reason they start having babies with these women that look like buffaloes. And then, they swear to the high heavens, I can't stand my baby mama. Well, you could stand her when she was ugly and she still had a fat ass though.
Exactly.
So, I mean, listen, it's about maturity. And let's face facts. This society, especially through programming, has been able to let the woman be more of be a sexual value in programming, I would say, developing like very persistently since the 1950s. Put it in the man's subconscious that, if life gets too rough with my wife, I have the option of getting a prostitute and this, that, and the third, and not having to deal with my woman if she's acting up. And if he's not responsible with his phallus, then automatically, you know what happens after that. Having a kid in a separate. And I'm not
In some ways, if you realize it, why did they not legalizing sex work all over the U.S. the way they should, or
They
some people
will.
want?
They will.
They not going to do that.
They
Yeah, because
will.
no, they
They're
not.
lying.
They
And
You
will.
that,
you already just alluded that right now.
They will.
Some females in power, that will happen to them with some of their husbands when they get out of line and stuff like that. What do you think is going to happen, especially when they deprive them of sex? Oh yeah,
They will.
no,
Everything
we
is set
won't.
up as a
Trust me.
trap.
And it's the women that's going to make sure that they ain't going to be legalized, not the
No,
dudes.
no, no.
It's
The
the
women
maybe
are
in
females.
for it. No,
California,
no,
they
no.
might be able
Let's be real, Mel. In this generation, they are for sex work. They are for it. They want to be able to go to the
Yeah,
Congress and the rest of them.
yeah,
They are for sex work. They do
yeah.
want. They do want to be able to go ahead and. This is the society where they become sexually liberated. You
Yeah.
It's
understand?
already
So if
backfiring
they,
on them as it
it's
is
not.
right
It's
now.
no. It's not. You
Yes, it
have you
is.
have
Okay,
a
wait,
bunch of
guys,
these
guys,
lame.
guys,
Really,
guys, hold
really.
on, hold on,
There's
hold
strip
on,
clubs
guys.
everywhere.
So a couple things. Hold on, a couple things. First of all, Melody is back. So TR, if you want to come up, because I know you were really TR baby. If you want to come up, because I know you really wanted to say something, please come up now because we are going to be shutting down soon. So if everyone can get ready for final thoughts, okay. Before Melody falls asleep again and we're all stuck here until morning. That would be great.
Right. You know that's gonna happen.
Okay, so only TR baby, because you were in the back for a while and I could not let you up because I couldn't. So please, if you want to come up and say something still, if you're still here, come up. Otherwise, let's get ready for final thoughts, everyone.
No, he dropped off. He said he's gonna go to sleep. He got work.
No, but then he was still in the chat just now, like maybe
Oh, he
5 minutes
was.
ago, going, Melody, please let me say something. I'm like, she's still
Yeah.
sleeping, man. That's why I started trying to like call her and message her in the back. I'm like, please wake up, girl, please.
But thank you for waking me up. I gotta get up in
Okay,
a
good.
few hours anyway. But
Right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
can we do final thoughts?
Now I'll just drive down. Peace to everybody. You already know. Peace,
Okay,
peace.
good night.
All right,
Bye.
Bronze, that was good. Anyone have some final thoughts? You want to? I know Mel, you must have something to say for final thoughts.
We already said we got to say yeah, so I don't know what else to add to that. So, good show, lady. Good show. What's the name of your show now?
You'll find out next week. Make sure you tune in.
All
Oh
right.
yeah,
All
I
right.
love it.
All right, Young East. Any final thoughts?
Mm, um, about MTR. Just to reiterate a little bit, his issue, like his issue with the Manosphere, we don't know, right? But it sort of highlights that this red pill thing the scope goes beyond just women. You feel me? I think I think that maybe he found out the hard way. you know, he found out the hard way, and but I think it's something that we should all like look at. Like, look, these dudes, they're being. I don't even know what they're being. I know they're not moving with MTR right. So you know they don't have all their eggs and they all their screws is not on correctly. So their criticisms a lot of times is correct, but you got to understand, even amongst themselves, there's a lot of issues that's just like unresolved. There's a lot of, I guess, inner turmoil that they haven't dealt with, which, I hate to say, well, I don't hate to say it, but a lot of these dudes is like they bitter, they hurt. And so, shit happens, people lash out. But I think what happened, I think it just highlights like a greater issue, period. So that's what I want to say.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I agree with a lot of what you just said right there.
All right. See you.
All right. Make sure, don't be a stranger. Come on back. Bully, you still there? You have any final thoughts?
So I am here, Ruby.
Okay, damn. I don't know. You haven't said anything in like 2 hours. What's up?
Hey, I like to enjoy shows. Y'all had a good show, good talking points. Um and the world is what it is. The world is what it is. We didn't make it. We in it. We trying to figure it out. We trying to make things better for ourselves and other people by, talking and for people to listen in and to learn. And can't wait to see y'all on the next show.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Can't wait
thank
to see
you.
you either.
Exactly.
Despite,
Now,
not to cut you off, but
mhm.
despite, I'm not even gonna say that.
What? Say that. Just say that.
Oh, I
No, I
have
was
a
gonna
feeling I
say
know what you're talking about.
despite people trying to come on the same time y'all come on, but it is what it is, and I'm glad y'all kept the show going. And people, y'all have your own audience, and people want to hear y'all, and just
Hmm.
keep it up. That's all I got to say.
Oh, thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Yeah,
Yes, I love it. I
Appreciate
love
it.
our audience. I love our loyal supporters. We already have loyal
yeah.
supporters. Check them out.
People want to
Mhm.
listen to y'all. It's a big space. YouTube is a big space, so it's definitely enough room for everybody. But
Hmm.
y'all got your audience, and people rather come here and talk because they interested in what you're talking about.
Hmm. Right. It's a very good point, and I think that that actually brings me to my final thoughts on the MTR at least scenario, which is that's what it comes down to. Listen, I don't think he, as in his channel, is going anywhere. I think what is going somewhere is any association he has with anyone in the space.
Mhm.
And with that being said, it's a big enough space for everybody. So as much as, and I think that's the thing, even men's rights is a big enough space for everybody. Men's issues, big enough space
Correct.
for everybody, right? So
Yep.
you don't have to be part of the manosphere for you to help men, for you to speak to men, for you to give men amazing advice, for you to guide young men, or even to help teach women how to take care of their men and their young boys or whatever, right? You don't have to be part of this space. It's a collective. I think a lot of people take comfort in the collective. Unfortunately, I think it's a dangerous kind of collective, like most movements I think are dangerous, which is why I don't join them, um, because eventually they get corrupted and eventually they become echo chambers, and that literally squashes any ability to think critically, right?
Mm-hmm.
To improve your
Mm-hmm.
position, to improve your argument, to improve what you're doing, because everything is an echo chamber. And I can't do that. That's why me and Melody, we had from day one, we said no echo chambers over here,
None
right?
at
That's
all.
the one thing we're not going to support is echo chambers. Everyone is free to come up and speak, and we're not going to be like, yeah, but because Kevin Samuel said, you're not allowed to think that today. Like, That's not going to happen over here. That's not how we grow. That's not how we better ourselves. It's not how we better the situation we're in. Because trust, if echo chambers help people get better, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. Because we all know that the sisterhood has been an echo chamber for a very long time, and nothing is
Yeah.
improving. Right? So let's try to break ourselves out of that. I don't know. Let's think of that for the next week before next week comes. Our new face comes, our new name comes. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great week.
And
I'm
I
looking forward to
also
it.
like the picture you put together. It's nice. I like the artwork.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah, I like
you.
it. It's nice.
We appreciate it.
Yes. I feel special. That's right. So, classic review. I can do my thing, y'all. I can do my thing.
Yes, definitely. She's always gonna do our thumbnail. She's the best. You know?
Aw, thank you. You're a very
Thank
easy medium to
you.
work with. Let's be real. I don't have to do very much. So just
Oh,
put
thank
Melody in a
you.
picture and it all of a sudden it shines. So we're good. Don't worry.
Aw, yeah, we both shine. Well,
Mm.
thank you guys. We had a great time today. Next week, we have a great show for you guys. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this, guys. So make sure
Mhm.
you guys come through, support the channel. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. Thank you, everybody, for the, support. We appreciate you. Um, that's all. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.